Hello, my friends. I don't know, I need to break into a little Lionel Richie, I think, don't you? No. That or Adele, but no, I won't do either because you don't want me to do that. Hello. I think we might have, it might be just a small little intimate grouping this evening. Oh, come on, YouTubes. Let's get going. Let's get going. I know you guys are here. I'm here. I can see that you're here, but I don't know. I'm like 10 or 15 seconds usually delayed from what ice. There we go. There we go. We're good. I tell you, there's iced coffee in here. That's how things are going today. Oh, I'm just dragging. Do you ever have that happen where you just drag? Yeah, that's me dragging. And so, about 5 o'clock, I'm like, because it's 6 o'clock here in Utah, 5 o'clock, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I do this tonight? And then Nick comes home and he's like, what is your problem? And I'm like, just go away. If he's still on, he'll be laughing at us right now. Anyhow, how is everyone this evening? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Some of you may be doing split screens tonight. You've told me that you'll have Listening with Lael here, and then you'll have what I am sure is to be a very lively vice presidential debate this evening. So I will be watching that, but not while we're working. Nick's watching it. Well, we'll be watching it in the room, and he's going to not tape it, right? That's old school. He's going to not even DVR it. Whatever you do, it'll be saved so I can watch it. Anyhow, welcome. Let's take a look in the chat and see who's here. Hi, Joy. Joy says she's going to hang for a little bit. Oh, playoff season for baseball. So I know we'll just people be in and out. So if you're watching live, great. And if you end up watching the replay, no problem. Much of this is my fault. When we were listing on Saturday, I had not updated my calendar on the wall. It was still August. When we were listing on Saturday, it was September. September was crazy with lots of traveling. Now I'm just looking for something that I had. Oh yes, I had printed this out a number of times. Do you see what that says? Well, you can see what it says that way, right? That's the listing schedule. Although I think you guys are maybe seeing it backwards now until I rotate the camera. Anyhow, so my listing schedule, I'm thinking, oh yeah, we're not listing this week because I'm out of town this weekend teaching at an event. So we're not listing again until the 12th. Well, no, silly me. If I looked at my schedule, I would have remembered that we were listing tonight. So kind of a fun little bonus session, a fun little bonus. Hello, Mariana, nice to see you. Sarah got home in time from the airport to make the live. I love that. Hi, Carrie. You were going to take your dad out for bingo. That is so sweet. I love that. I hope everything went well with your mother's service. Hello, Carol. Debbie. Hello, Debbie. Ms. L. Lisa Lackey. Hello. Hi, Elizabeth and Betty. Pam. Good evening, Pam. Deborah. Now, Linda May. I haven't seen you for a while, I don't think. Linda May. Hi, Nancy. Gerda, hello, nice to see you, Gerda. Heather, double screening, yeah, maybe some people double screening. Let's see, hi, Pamela Grant, how are you? How's the leg? Doing okay? Oh, that just reminded me, I don't know if we'll see Terry tonight. I don't know if anyone's heard how her husband's doing. She had mentioned on Saturday, well, I think they were in the ER, something was wrong with her husband's leg, so that just popped into my head. I need to reach out to her and see, right? Let's see. Oh, Pamela's saying, OMG, Lael, the Halloween album. That is actually downstairs right now. It needs to get packed tomorrow because that is a class that I'm teaching at a small retreat this weekend. But yes, the Halloween album. Oh my goodness, that turned out so fun. And if you're wondering what that is, you can see the flip through video of that project kit here on my YouTube channel. The project is called October 31st. It's super fun. If you are a Halloween lover, it's a good one. Hello, just a girl and her paper, Cindy. Carol said she loved evening live listing sessions. I know, they're fun, right? Because they're just kind of different. Well, they're the same, but they're different, right? Hello, Christy. Oh, look at that, Mariana. I love it. Mariana said in political news, today Mexico has a huge day. Our first female president took office. Yay, that's amazing, Mariana. Congratulations for your country. That is... That's a pretty big deal, right? That is a pretty big deal. Hello, Maureen. Nancy says it's rainy Wednesday afternoon here in New Zealand. It's a beautiful day here in Utah. Yesterday we were probably mid 70s, and I think maybe Thursday, maybe in a couple days, we're supposed to get high 90s again, which is crazy. That's just Mother Nature here in Utah this time of year. Any of you, well, if you are watching, and let's just say a nice little prayer for our friends that have been affected by Hurricane Helene, because that has been, if you're watching any of that on the news, just devastating, and it hit a number of different states. I think the area that was most impacted, well, I shouldn't say most impacted, I should say the area that was really maybe hit off guard was about 500 miles inland outside of Asheville, North Carolina, I think, just because they weren't really anticipating 500 miles inland, but just devastating. So we hope that everyone is okay, and yes. Hello, Crafty865. Elise, hi Elise, nice to see you. And Val, hello Valerie. Val, I did not respond to your email, but Thursday will be fine, okay? Thursday will be fine, and I can put it out before I go. Hello, Janine, Shirley Wilson. Hello, Colleen. Colleen, did you enjoy your weekend, your card making weekend? I hope so. I hope so. Hi, Shelly Rose. Nice to see you. Wanda. All right, friends, and creative Cindy. So I'm going to get us going. I am going to, do all the things, rotate the camera and da-da-da. I was messing with the lights always, and then I got frustrated with Nick again. Sometimes when, I don't know, you're just having a day and the person that happens to be there is the person that bears the brunt of your frustrations. I'm like, Nick, same exact lights here. This one is set, they're both set the exact same settings. They're my studio lights, right? They're both set the exact same settings. One is this really nice warm light that I was trying to go for, and over here it's super bright. But why? Exact same settings. He comes in, yep, they're exact same settings. I don't know why they're not working. And I'm like, I want you to help me. Just solve it. He's a good solver, but it's probably such a good solver that when he doesn't solve things, yeah. Anyhow, it's just a chatty evening, friends. So I am going to turn off, switch, rotate, do all the things, and then we will get going. And Reggie is sitting here in his nice little bucket. I figured something out about Reggie. Recently. So Lily and Denise, my birthday was in August, and Lily and Denise that work for me had brought this beautiful basket with all these amazing things in the basket. And the basket is like a soft-sided basket. And I thought, oh, Reggie might want to, that'd be really comfortable for him to sleep in a little bucket on my desk, right? Maybe that'd be better for him than this, hard plastic IKEA thing that he normally sleeps in. And so I had put that, kind of switched him out. And he's just had been hanging out in here very much. And so Sunday I was basically in here all day designing and writing instructions, all day and all night. And I switched out for his, regular little bucket thing, and he is just in heaven. He's been spending more time in here again, which is always fun. So anyhow, he is joining us as well. All right, friends. So when we were together, I was putting some of these things away before we started and got sidetracked. So when we were together on Saturday, just a wee couple of days ago, we did several lists. Let me just get these things put away there. All right, so we did 3 lists. And our 3 lists that we did, it was the first Saturday in September that we were together, really the first listing day in September that we were together. So we started out with our About Last Month. Oh, thank you, Colleen, because you knew it. I've got so many things stacked up here for us to kind of work with that normally I have our little cord in the way so I don't forget it. But thank you. We are now plugged in. So the first list we started with on Saturday was About Last Month. And About Last Month is another list that we will be doing this evening. It'll be, I think, our second list that we do. But About Last Month, add photos, and I make just kind of a run-on list of the things that happened during the month. And then my month is documented. So I can say that I am caught up on my scrapbooking, right? Or my memory keeping, because if nothing else, I get this done every month, and I've got this done every month for the last 4 years, right? So now I can work at leisure on other, mini books if I want, or do 12 by 12 layouts, if I'm doing scrapbooking, but basically I have everything done. Now the nice thing too is that if I do decide to do another project down the road, let's say maybe a 12 by 12 scrapbook page or something, then, and I don't kind of remember some of the details, I can come back to this and I have everything I need. So that was the first list that we did last week. Well, it was last month. The first list that we did on Saturday. The second list we did happy accidents. So happy accidents. We had a lot of fun with this one. This is, here we used, actually I'm gonna back up. On both of these lists, we used the brand new Birdsong collection from 49 Market, which is so, so, so beautiful. So that, right? The teal, the beautiful butterflies, those vibrant colors, the yellows and the navies and the corals. We had so much fun with that. So happy accidents, just kind of talking about things that weren't necessarily planned, or maybe they were planned differently than they actually kind of took place. But then in the long run, they were really good things that happened. So happy accidents. We used the new In the Box 2 stamp set on that. So In the Box 2, the original In the Box has been out, oh my gosh, probably at least a year, if not more. And it's a stamp set that I use frequently. So I thought, you know what, it is time for a kind of another version, right? In the Box 2. So we worked with some of these different sized, those three were from In the Box 2, and that little guy was from the original In the Box. So just kind of having a couple more boxes to work with as we do our lists that maybe require a little bit more explanation. I use some white alphabet stickers on that. It's not often that I use a white alphabet sticker, but sometimes the paper that you're working with just screams, this is like perfect for white alphabet. So the white alphas there just pop so much off the page, and they worked really well, kind of the white, some of the white designs on the paper that we used. And our third list was, oh, what a day. Not oh, what a day, what a day. And I decided to put it next to our August What a Day, just because that was a single page and this was going to be a single page. So I put them right next to each other, and on both of those, I used Bold and Bright collection from Miss Vicky and the What a Day stamp set. So those were our lists from Saturday. I am just about done with this insert. So I have a spread, and then the single page, I don't usually if I'm going to do something here, I'll either put some like a decorative pattern paper, or I'll use the beginning and end stamp set that kind of helps you wrap up an insert if you're ready to start a new one. So I'm going to set this guy off to the side, because what I'm doing today, at least two of my lists are double page spreads, and one may or may not be a double. It's a single or a double. So I thought I'm just going to put this here for a moment. Because there's always questions about when we're listing, especially since the rest of the year we're doing some weeknight listing sessions and we're doing some weekday listing sessions. No, weeknight and Saturday. Weeknight and Saturday listing sessions. So this you will always find pinned to the top of the Lail by Mail Facebook page, the Lail by Mail Facebook group, and you'll also find a blog post that has this, just the schedule. And then every time on the blog that we're talking about, our Saturday listing sessions, or in this case, our weeknight listing sessions, there's always a link to this as well. So, and I need to walk the talk, right? Because I had totally forgot that we were going to list on the first, but I always thought that I don't know. It's funny. Tonight, my brain, my mouth is saying things that my brain's not telling me to say. Anyhow, I always get a lot of questions about this. And Carol brought up a very good point as well. This is always on all of the emails that go out as well. Now, if it's a class email, information about a class, that's generally not on there. But so there's many places to find that. And after I've been holding it up for so long, you could even do a screenshot and have that as well. So that's the plan. That is the plan. Carol, I know. Carol said last night's email saying we're listing tomorrow threw me for a loop because you said our next night was October 12th. I know that was totally my bad because this Saturday, I didn't have the updated calendar on the wall, and it was in my calendar on my phone. It was in my my traveler's notebook, the calendar in my traveler's notebook, but yeah, not in front of me. So, all right. Anyhow, we are going to start out with our second list. So we have 3 lists planned today. The first one is about last month for the month of September, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to do that one second since we just barely did that on Sunday. We'll still do it tonight, but what I thought might be a fun list to get into tonight is something that I haven't ever really talked about or shown on any of our creative listing sessions. So this topic is things I collect from places I visit. Okay, things I collect from places I visit. If you don't do a lot of traveling, or maybe you don't visit a lot of places, I don't want you to be afraid to do this list, because this list could just be things I collect. For me, it's things I collect from places I visit. But if you want to just do a things I collect, maybe you like to collect, oh my gosh, I don't know, Longenberger, whatever those things are called, Longenberger baskets. Maybe you like to collect those little moments figurines from Hallmark. Whatever it is that you collect, you could be writing a list about the different things that you like to collect. For me, I'm writing a list about things I like to collect from places I've visited. So this is going to be a totally different, Pamela, I was going to say the little spoons, right? Little spoons or magnets, right? So this is going to be a really different list than I normally do, or than we normally do, I should say. Some of you have seen some of these things that I've been doing. I started doing these at the beginning of the year, so beginning of 2020-24. When I travel, I always come back with many of these things. Like look at this. I have brochures. I have the free, oh, that's not free, that I bought from a nice little man at a craft fair. But all different kinds of things like this, right? Your visitor's guides, your brochures, different things like that. So for years, I have piles and piles, well, they're not in piles, they're in bags, of memorabilia from trips. Postcards, stamps from national parks or state parks or monuments, maps, brochures, stickers, all different kinds of things. So I have many of these. I, at the beginning of the year, started doing this. So I started using a brand new Traveler's Notebook insert, and I have been taking those things that I collect, and I've basically just been putting together, some people will call this a glue book because you're just gluing things in. Other people will call this like a junk journal. But I take those things, different stickers, different postcards, and I just add them into my Traveler's Notebook. All right, so, and I've been doing this for every trip that I've taken this year. I have, I think, 4 trips right now that I still have to do, but it's a fun little work in progress that lets me kind of have something creative that I can do or work on without necessarily feeling a lot of pressure. I'm only adding all of those things. Now, sometimes I'll mix in, like these are different laser cuts from 49 and Market. I might mix in scrapbook stickers or mix in some rub-ons, but primarily what I am using are the things that I'm collecting while I'm traveling. So I have had so much fun doing this. And for me, it takes all the pressure off of, I guess, doing the memory keeping of a trip, because I'm not worried about photos. I'm not really worried about, this isn't how I'm documenting a trip with photos. This is just taking all of that memorabilia that I collect and doing something with it. So there is one of those, like this was the Bears Ears National Monument. That is one of those little stamps from the Visitor Center. But I've had a lot of fun working on this book. Sometimes I take it with me when I travel, and if I only have a few minutes kind of on and off to work on it, then it's something that I can pick up and put down and pick up and put down. So what I thought I'd do for this first list, things I collect from places I've visited, is my list is going to be kind of in this style. All right, it's going to be in this style where I'm pulling in some of the memorabilia that I have collected from one of our trips, and that was our trip to Orlando earlier this year in April. So Nick had some business in Orlando, and he was going to be there for a week, and I said, well, I'm going to come. And he said, okay, because we were right on one of the Disney, well, not one of the Disney properties, like the main property at Magic Kingdom or Disney World or whatever they call that giant area there in Orlando. So Nick worked and I worked, and then we went to Epcot one day, we went to Magic Kingdom one day, and as I always do, I come back with lots of things that I've collected. When I am heading out on a trip, I will always take now one of these with me. Okay, so I take one of my big pouches, and when I leave, it's empty, but when I come home, there's tons of different things in it, right? This is where I then hold everything. It's all in one nice little pouch for each trip that I take. This is where everything sits until I am ready to work on it. And like this weekend, I'm going to teach at a retreat, but I'll have a lot of free time while I'm there. So it's really easy for me to just take this and put it in my suitcase. And then I almost have this little like kit ready for me to work on because all of the memorabilia from that particular trip is there. So that's what I have here. This is some of the memorabilia from our trip that we took to Orlando. And it's all just grouped nicely together in that one little pouch. When I am collecting memorabilia on a trip, I will generally do this, multiples, right? Multiples. Well, this one, 4. You never know how many of those things you need because you never know where and how you might use them. So I will generally, well, yes, right? 3. Postcards. This is from like one of those little coasters from the hotel. That is a little notepad from the hotel. That's a little thing from Epcot. And then even these things. So these things, gift cards. Actually, that is not a gift card that I bought. I asked in one of the stores if I could just have that, and they said yes. Hotel room key. And then these were our, I don't know. I guess these were our, maybe these were, photo passes? I don't quite remember what those were. But anyhow, all kinds of different things that I collect when I go on a trip. So now I can actually do 2 things with this. I have enough here to do my list today or tonight of things that I collect from places I visited. But then I also have enough when I'm ready to kind of put that into my glue book. I have enough to use there as well. So those were tickets and room keys. Yeah, so Jen, tickets, room key, and gift card. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of get started. I'm going to show you how I just, when I'm ready to do one of those lists, well, when I do one of those, not lists, but when I document a trip, how I just kind of do that. So that's what we're going to do. That is what I'm going to use to create my list. Now, I also pulled in, because this one happens to be Disney that I'm kind of using the memorabilia from. I also grabbed, where was that? Oh, here it is. I also grabbed some product from the Say Cheese Classic Mouse collection. So, especially somewhere like Disney, did you know you pretty much cannot find a single sticker, anywhere on the at least Disney Orlando property? Nowhere. They have no stickers. I looked and looked and asked and looked and looked and asked. They have about a gazillion of these, right? The pins, many, many, many pins, but no stickers. So I don't know if anybody is like has an in with Disney and knows why. I'm just curious because every time I asked, the people at the store were like, I don't really know. Nick's theory is that because they don't want stickers all over the place, but I don't know. All right, so I want to back up for just a sec. I want to see what you guys are telling me or telling us that you are collecting. Hello, Nancy. Nice to see you. Pamela, Little Spoons. Nancy, National Parks passport stamps. Me too. I love to do those. Let's see. Hello, Debbie in Australia. Nice to see you. Very fun. See, this is kind of fun because some of our international folks that normally aren't with us on a Saturday can join us on a weeknight. Joe Disney fan collects Legos and scrapbooking supplies I never use, right? Totally. Deborah, penguins and pens. Nancy, tiny charms for charm bracelets. You have some charms on your National Parks passport. I love that. Wanda, keychains and thimbles. Pens, postcards, stickers, local maps. Oh, Wednesday in Sydney. Oh, wow. Debbie, that didn't even occur to me. If it was Thursday, then somehow you like jumped forward a day and a half. Nancy said some quilters pick up pieces of fabrics. Very, very good. Hello, Karen from Aurora. Carrie keeps hotel keys. She used to be a flight attendant and she has all the keys from the hotels I stayed in. That is really, really fun. One thing while we're kind of talking about maybe things like this, if you are collecting and you're like, ooh, if I want to put them in a Traverse notebook, that doesn't really work. How do I do that? Let me just grab something over here. Let's see where that might be. Where might that be? Well, it's in my like Scotland, Ireland trip traveler's notebook. All right, one sec. Because sometimes you're like collect all these things, but then what the heck do I do with them? Oh, here we go. So, let's get this little guy out there. This is one chunky monkey. Oh, it's not in here. Where is it? Well, there is a kind of clear plastic zipper pouch that I put things in. So wherever that is from this trip. All right, sorry about that. I'm not sure where that is. Okay, let's just keep going. A little off track there. It'll show up and I'll be like, oh, there it is. All right. So, let's grab. Colleen says to augment her junk journal smash book, she includes cutouts for magazines. Yes. So, same, Colleen, same. If I have like a travel magazine or, like really an advertisement kind of, all those magazines are more ads than anything. But I will totally cut those up. In fact, here, let's just pull this one out again. This is from our Scotland, Ireland trip. Well, and actually, I use all the things. That's a gift bag. But there's an example. So, bookmark, things cut from magazines, right? Let's look at this one too. Oh, here we go. So that you can really see. I mean, there's so much stuff in there, things cut from magazines, but that's what I do with so much of that stuff. Maps, postcards, care instructions for a wool sweater. Yeah. All right. But for my list, I am going to do it that style because it has so much to do with the things that I collect from the places I visited. So we'll start here with our little outlining. And I know I will want to use a postcard. Now this was another thing. The postcards at Disney World, I'm a Disneyland kid, all right? I have been Disneyland. My grandparents lived in Anaheim for years when I was growing up, so we were at Disneyland a lot. And I feel like I know Disneyland really well. Disney World or Magic Kingdom, not so much because that's the first time I'd been there. So I also had a hard time kind of finding postcards. I ended up having to buy like this whole postcard pack. But I do like to include postcards. So we'll figure out, there's some good, Epcot, right? We were at Epcot too. Ooh, I think we might need the castle. I think we might need the castle because I have an idea for what I want to do with one of my little, one little brochures. So before I do anything, I want to put my title in here. I want to do my title. So for the word collect, I'm going to have kind of collect, and then I'll write things I collect from places I visit. So collect will be kind of big. Let's to keep this fairly easy tonight. I think I will, well, there's a couple things I could do here. If I wanted to bring in some very Disney specific stuff, I could grab I could use, right? Let's just see though. I might not be able to fit. I don't know. COLLECT. I think I might be a little bit too wide to use those. I might not be too wide. The letters might be too wide. Let's just clarify that right now though. All right, let's just see. C, I have two L's. I have C, two C's, O, L, L, E, C, T. Let's see what we get. Let's try it. We're going to start with our ruler, and I am going to put the stickers on my ruler. That will help me make sure to make sure that they are straight, number one. Let's see, my two L's are, okay, I'm just figuring out what colors I want to do. If I get pretty close together, we might be able to fit. So let's just look. So this is kind of going to be a mashup between a, like my little junk journal glue book style and then a list, right? All right, let's do another one of these. Red here. Now let's look, are we gonna be okay? Is this going to work? Ooh. All right, see? It's really not gonna work for me. So I just don't have enough room, even overlapping as much as I was overlapping. So let me just pull these guys off and we'll go to plan B. We tried, I just need a shorter word there. Since, you know, my Traveler's Notebook is narrower than like a 6x8 or a 12x12. All right, so we'll go something more simple. A little bit more simple than that. I don't think there's not another, not another alpha in there. Okay, let's go to these. Let's go to our letter scrambles and we'll just go to black. So letter scrambles, I used on our list on Saturday, the happy accidents. The letter scrambles are from Bella. Let me just do this. The letter scrambles are from Bella, and they come in like 16 different colors. So I sell them individually on the website and then also in a bundle. So before I start, I make sure, I want to make sure I have enough of the letters before I get too far down the path, right? So I'm just making little marks, and I have enough. So it's a good idea, so you don't run out of things, right? I've just missed a whole bunch of things. So Louisa, yes, I could totally do one of my alpha stamps. I'm actually going to do an alpha stamp on our next list, and the stamping usually, it takes a little bit longer because I, stamp each one individually. So I thought we'd do sticker on this one, and then on our third list we will do alpha stamps. We're going to use tally. All right, see, again, I'm using the ruler. The ruler for two reasons. Number one, I can get everything lined up nice and straight, but you also saw how I was able to see right away, well, right away-ish, that it wasn't going to fit, and I hadn't started already putting letters there, right? But the other kind of thing it lets me do, as I am using a ruler, it lets me decide where I want to place that title. I can get it exactly centered, well, centered-ish, right? I can get it exactly centered without having to do any measuring or counting and trying to figure out, okay, how long is this letter? And then if I go halfsies, but then I can't really go halfsies because the L's are way narrower than the O's and the E's and the C's, and this makes it so much easier. And I'll show you that part in 1 second. In 1 second, how are we this evening? How is everybody doing? Are we doing well? Nancy, I know I did overlap. Nancy said you could overlap them a bit, and I overlapped them quite a bit, and they still weren't going to work. So, and I actually pretty much am always either super close together when I am doing alpha stickers or stamps, and sometimes overlap because I just like that look better. But in that case, they were just too wide for us. Too wide. All right, so use the ruler for things to be straight, but then also use the ruler because look at, I can be, ooh, do I want it down here? Should I do it on a side or should I do it here? Where should I do it? But we'll be kind of basic and we'll just go right here, right? So I need to make sure I have enough room for things I'm gonna write that right up there. So I think that we're pretty good. So I press down on the stickers, so now they're adhered, and then I just gently roll that ruler right down below. That is when a little 6-inch ruler comes in very handy, super thin, but then because it's, you know, narrower than a regular 12-inch, it's really easy to work with when you're working in a smaller surface. Okay, so things I collect from places I visit. Okay, now I think we will want to do a little in-betweener line here, just a little separator. Okay. Ooh, that needs to go out just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Ooh, I missed that shadow box full of hotel keys. That sounds very cool. That sounds really cool. Concert and event ticket stubs. That I know, but now they're on our phones, huh? That's a kind of a bummer, right? Everything is, not everything, but most things now are electronic. And so you don't have like the memorabilia. Now you could still do a screenshot of your ticket and then you use it later, but it's not quite the same, right? Not quite the same. All right, so this right here, from this particular little brochure, one of the things I collect are brochures. And so I thought this is an easy one to just cut right up and use, right? So I'm going to cut it away from this. And then cut away a bunch of this, and then I'm going to come in with my fussy cutting scissors and really get in there. But if I can cut away a lot of the bulk ahead of time, it makes it so much easier when it comes to fussy cutting. I can do that pretty quick, right? So something that's large like this, I mean, I love. And if I can't get a sticker, right, I can't find a sticker like this or a sticker for any, you know, matter at Disney World, Magic Kingdom, then this is the next best thing. This is another thing too. If you are scrapbooking, well, this is scrapbooking too, right? But if you are, you know, working with a mini book or maybe a 12 by 12 scrapbook or something, sometimes you may get your pictures of wherever you are. But they usually, well, and a lot of times aren't as good and clear and untethered. When I mean untethered, I mean there's not a lot of kids hanging off. There aren't any kids here hanging off of Minnie and Mickey. for example. So if you have a postcard, beautiful postcard of the castle, or you have a postcard of the Eiffel Tower or the Grand Canyon, or, you know, whatever it is, including those things in any of your memory keeping projects. Even if you have your own photos, sometimes it's fun to include those, you know, professional photos. The other thing is you could also, when I say photos, you know what I mean. I mean you know, someone that's taken the photo and then it's on the sticker or the brochure or the postcard. So when I'm doing this, I'm not really doing a lot of thinking about where I'm going to place things. And that to me is what's so freeing when it comes to like this glue book or junk journal style. I'm just kind of putting things on. So we're going to be doing a mixture on this if you've just joined us. I'm doing a list about things I collect from places I've visited, but I'm using things that I collect from a place that I visited earlier this year to do that list. And that is, you know, right now it's one of these brochures, but I'll continue to add some things. So really, probably the whole right side of the page is going to be more of a collage, and then the left side will be my list. Because there's a lot of things I collect from places I visit. I don't generally do maybe the more standard things, like I don't do spoons or keychains or magnets or patches. I'm generally collecting things that I can use in my documenting like this. Although I do, I have started to collect the, you know, like the pins, you know, like that. I mean, not a ton of them, just if there's a pin that I can, you know, do a pin from one place or one pin from a place that I go. But there are other things that I collect that definitely cannot make their way into my traveler's notebook. Now they could make their way into my traveler's notebook via photo, but they can't go in. They cannot go in. I might just have to run in the other, when we get there, run in the other room and grab a bowl of what I'm talking about. Because if you collect what I collect, then you'll be like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Anyhow, so we're just doing our little fussy cutting here. As I was kind of saying earlier, when I am doing my documenting in my kind of my glue book, my junk journal for all my travelers, a lot of times I'm doing that in a hotel because it's something that's easy for me to take with when I travel, or in Harvey, our RV. We were in August in an area outside of Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I brought my junk journal glue book stuff, and I actually worked on one of our trips it was basically in the side of the river. So in nature, and it's the kind of thing that you don't need a lot of supplies when you are doing it, because if you have your little bag of all your things that you've collected and your glue stick and things like that, you're good. You are good. So, and if I only have a few minutes here and there, then I could, when I have a few minutes, sit down and, in this case, go through Mickey and Minnie, or do this little fussy cutting. And then if I have a few more minutes later, then I would do fussy cut something else out of one of the brochures. All right, so there we go. They are fussy cut. And let me get all this little stuff, all these little remnants put away. Okay, there we go. Now, in terms of my little postcard, I like to include postcards. They kind of add a fun extra little page in whatever it is I'm doing, but also gives you a nice place to write. If you want to write additional on the back, you could do that. Sometimes I think it's fun to mail those to myself. So I will fill it out, stamp, and mail it back to myself. And then it's part of, it's part of whatever I'm doing. So when I do that, I just totally lost my train of thought. I was going to say, when I do that, a lot of times I'll maybe do more than one. And, I know what I was going to say. If you do that and you're somewhere international, it's fun because then you kind of have the international postmark and things. Oh yeah, I wanted to just take a little bit of this. So this is just from, you know how in the hotel they have the little notepads on the desk? That's what that is. So most of what I collect is free, right? That was certainly free. I grabbed the whole pad, so I want to do other things with that. Oh, Maureen, that is so fun. Maureen has a small collection of Christmas tree ornaments of places she's visited. Ornament of the Grand Ole Opry and the New York Public Library. That is a fun idea. That's a great idea. Hello, Sue's Creative. Nice to see you. Hello, Kelly's Creative Dreams. I appreciate that. Kelly said, can't stay, but bopped in to smoosh the like button. Yes, friends, smoosh the like button, right? Smoosh the like button. I would love it if you would do that. All right, so I think this little guy is going to go over here. It definitely has to go over here because there's not, a ton of room for me. If I put that over here, there's not much room for a list. But what I can do here, let's grab, I don't use a glue stick often when we are working together. So it is probably in my bag. Oh, it is my bag of tricks that I often take with me. Hi, Carla. When I'm working on this type of project. All right, so my little teeny glue stick. Da-da-da. Oh, I just remembered. I need to send somebody a recipe. Susan, if you're here tonight, I just remembered I need to send you a recipe. What made me think that is Nick is making dinner. He is making a butternut squash lasagna. Now here's the deal. It's not really lasagna. There's no noodle in it. There's no lasagna noodle. Kind of the noodle is more, is the butternut squash. So it's like sliced, very thinly sliced butternut squash. All right, so here we go. Get that all nice and adhered. Now, we're not gonna worry that part of our little hand is cut off because we'll put something else there. I need to get a little bit more glue behind the little ear. Alrighty. This one, I only have one of these, so I'm going to save that for when I do my glue book part of things. Now, I need some washi. Now that I have this in play, I need a little bit of washi to add or tip in my little guy here. So let's grab, I grabbed the washi from Say Cheese Classic Mouse, and I think this is going to be a really good one to use, just the little black and white Minnie and Mickey. It is really good, you guys. It is so good. Crafty 865 said I was going to try that with zucchini. It's very good lasagna with zucchini like that. Crafty 865, make sure that when you use zucchini, there's so much water in zucchini that it can tend to get a little watery. Like if any of you have ever made like spaghetti, but with zucchini noodles, like zoodles, same thing, how sometimes, we want to do this so we're not covering up that part with washi, that you try to dry out, like pat with a paper towel and get as much moisture out as you can, so all that moisture doesn't go into your dish. Here I am sounding like I'm a chef. I do not cook, but I know some of those things. All right, so when I have something that I want to add into my traveler's notebook, I am going to, this kind of technique is called a tip in. And we've done this a couple times in the last couple of years. Well, we've really, all the time that we've been listing. Maybe I do this once a year, maybe not even once a year. But what I'm doing is I am applying my washi partly to the item I am trying to add in or tip in, and then partly to the item I am adding it to, the insert. So I want to do that on both sides. So there it is there, and then I come in on the reverse side and do the same thing. This is one of the reasons why I did not do this in the insert that we'd been working on, because it was at the very end, and trying to do this at the very end of an insert would not work. There's too much bulk from all the pages that you've done. You would not be able to do this. So there we go. All right. So there's the start of our little thing. Now that's pretty plain. So that's probably where I'd start looking at the different things I had. And I might look at what is there that I could add. Although I kind of like this thing. This thing could maybe go over on this side. And I'm just like chopping things up, right? And sometimes I think I had 4 of these little maps or brochures or whatever the heck this is here, right? You know why? Because as I'm cutting this side, I'm cutting into whatever's on that side, and I might want to also have that. So I always grab at least a couple. And that's why they're there, you know? They don't care if you take a couple or 10, or, well, they probably would. I mean, you could probably get 10 if you needed 10 at various times through your visit, instead of right when you walk in saying, hey, can I have 10 of those? Although they probably don't care. They probably don't care. So this little guy could maybe, I don't know where we'll use it. Maybe over here, maybe over here. Maybe it needs to go right there. Let's just put him right there. Hello, Marie. Oh, you're sick. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's such a bummer. I hope it's not bad. Hope it's not a bad one. Hope it's not a bad version. Hope it just, you know, is in and out and you feel better soon. Unless you need time off work and then you want to not be working, and then there you go. Then you could, maybe then you want it to last a little bit longer. Okay, so I'd probably better quickly here start figuring out now how my list is going to work, because I am going to start running into some potentially space issues. I had to close that because Sam is, ouch, I think Sam is being very loud. Well, he and Nick are talking, but you know, it just seemed kind of loud. So let's look at rest of what we have going on in here. Now, usually what I would do is probably something like this. I would like that guy's hair. No, not really. What I really want is this. This Walt Disney World part. Because I can, is that glue stick the size of a chapstick? It is, Denise. I have these on the website. They're really inexpensive. I think they're maybe like $1.50 or $2 or something, but because it's teeny, 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 tiny. Which, you know, if you're trying to take things with you on the road, for example, sometimes you don't want to have all the bulk of like a giant glue stick. Well, giant glue stick, you know, glue sticks. There are some that are large, but, you know, not like they're huge, but sometimes you don't have a lot of space to take things with you, or if you do, you don't want to take it up with glue sticks. You want to take it up with fun stuff, right? All right, so then probably, I end up doing a lot of fussy cutting when I am cutting things out of brochures, right? Or magazines or whatever it is, because I really don't want all that extra green around there. But it actually is a little bit nice to keep a little bit of that background as I'm fussy cutting around that, because then it will really pop, especially if I'm putting it on something that's white. If I try to get in on tight with that, then it, you know, doesn't show as well. Can you guys hear Sam in the other room? I think we are a family of loud talkers, although not Nick. Sometimes Nick is, I'm like, Nick, for someone who wears hearing aids, Nick wears hearing aids. Oh my gosh, he has for a while. Maybe 6 or 7 years. He has a genetic something going on. I can't remember what it's called. Anyhow, for someone that does not hear very well and definitely relies on your hearing aids to hear, sometimes you're like the quietest talker. I'll be on the phone. Like Vicky and I were talking earlier today. Nick wasn't here, but if he was here, he would have totally said that. He'll be like, who are you yelling at? Who are you yelling at? And I'm not yelling, I'm just talking with purpose. How about that? I'm talking with purpose. Yeah. So I can totally hear Sam in the other room. So I hope you guys can't. I mean, you know, Sam's a sweetheart, but you know, you don't want to hear background noise of my family living. Sam is with us. He moved back in September or August. September? I don't remember anymore. Time goes by so fast. I think maybe September. I need to add that into my about last month for September. He is, our nephew just bought a house, and Sam moved back in with us until nephew closes, and then he will be moving in with our nephew. So we've had him back for a while, which is so fun. It's so fun. Oh yes, okay, I just remembered something that has to go in my about last month. We met Sam's girlfriend. Sam's girlfriend came over for dinner on Sunday night. She and Sam have been dating, I don't know, maybe 4 months, and for a while, he's like, no, I'm not ready for you to, no. And then one day he's like, okay, it's time. And then I'm like, okay, well, how about like October, you know, or September, whenever, because Dad and I are out of town, and then I'm out of town, and Dad's out of town, so it took us a little while for all of that to get together. All right, there we go. So now there's a fun little title that I can go on, I don't know, maybe like this. Walt Disney. So really, it's just like we're just playing, right? We're playing, and it's not supposed to look like super professional because it's not. Well, I don't know. You know, you're cutting things from magazines, so. But they're part of the things I collect. I moved to a little glue pen here just because it's a little bit more intricate. Might make it a little bit harder to get my glue stick on that. Walt Disney. And then I'll probably put World on the other side and then add a few more things. And then at some point I'll start writing my list. But normally when I am doing my glue book junk journal for my travels, there's not a lot of writing, right? There's not a lot of writing. I'm usually maybe explaining where we are, why we're there, what we were doing. I think we know Walt Disney World. Oh, we'll just do that. But this, we're kind of doing our list with the things that I collect when I travel. And you know, it'll be fun, I guess, when I'm ready to do this little junk journal glue book. It'll be easy because I can probably just do a similar thing. Joe Disney fan said, my entire family is loud. It's funny when a new person is around us, they think we're yelling and screaming at each other. Right? Totally. Louisa said, when I get excited, my voice gets loud. That's probably me, Louisa. When I get passionate about something I'm doing, which is, you know, this, always. I'm very passionate about memory keeping and listing and, you know, art and things like that. So in a lot of cases, my voice will get loud when I do that. Yes, sweetie? What is that? Oh, thank you.
It's gone now.
Okay, thank you. I never do this.
Love you, Mama.
Love you too. You're leaving? Oh, okay. I just ate something. Our next door neighbor is single. And you know, that's kind of a weird way to start it, I guess. But anyhow, she's single. And if she ever needs help with something, like some, you know, her sprinklers aren't working or whatever, or she's having car problems or something, she'll come over and ask Nick. So Nick is very helpful. So last weekend, I think, she was trying to go somewhere and she realized that she left her car in her garage overnight with the lights on. So her car wouldn't start. So Nick was trying to help her, and long story short, last night she came over and brought this little cake. And she was like, thank you so much, Nick. You're always so helpful and you're so nice and whatever. So Sam just brought me in. It was a chocolate cake with like Oreo frosting. And Sam just brought me a bite of the frosting, so I had to have it because then they just finished it off. All right, let's kind of look. I'm a little light on the Disney things. It's interesting because there just wasn't, and I was so surprised, there just wasn't a lot of stuff that I could get from, like, collectible things from Disney. So we could put, I guess we could put this little guy on there. Sure, why not? And then I might rely a little bit more on product from, like, scrapbooking product, because I don't have as much to include. Carol, my son took 9 months to introduce to his girlfriend. They are now engaged and the wedding is in 19 days. Oh my gosh, Carol. Congratulations. That's so exciting. Sam is a very social kid and was friends with everyone in high school. I mean, he's just one of those guys that's always just super social and helpful and nice and friends with all different kinds of people. But in high school, dated, but never really had a girlfriend. So we haven't met a lot of girlfriends. We just met, I told you, we just met her, and we met, Sam's had one other girlfriend that we've met, and so it's kind of fun. There we go. We'll just cut that off because it was a little bit, I think maybe, we're not going to fussy cut, but we'll just maybe get this a little bit. We're just doing this. Make it, I don't want to have so much of the kind of that white background. And here's the thing with this, well, in anything we do, there's no rules. No rules, no rules. Although I do say date it. I mean, that would be the only rule that I would try to enforce is date whatever you do, because I think that's really important. In fact, it was funny, earlier today on the Facebook group, yesterday I had shared some photos from Nick and I on Friday. It's definitely fall here in Utah. And Utah, northern Utah in the fall, the leaves are the most amazingly, stunningly beautiful things you've ever seen. So I had shared some photos, and Nancy Mars left a comment on one of the photos and said, "Oh my goodness, this photo reminds me of a big photo that you used that was similar to that in a list, in the past." And so I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. I went to the idea book. I looked up fall. I had it. I could see where the date was there. I went and grabbed the photo of the list, and right there on the list, it says fall of 2021, which was so awesome because otherwise I wouldn't have necessarily remembered when I did that list. So that's the only rule. Only rule I'm going to enforce when we do anything like this. I recommend that you date it, right? So when I am dating things in my glue book, I'm generally dating them from when we took the trip, right? So most recently, this was March 27, 2024. So if I were to do something like that in here from kind of the things I've been collecting, I would date that. Now, do we suppose we remember when that was? Without being able to look at my calendar, I will not. I'm just trying to, oh, I know. Other things that you save, look at this. Receipts. So this was April 22nd. So I'm going to say April 23rd, April 24th, lots of purchases. April 22nd. So, I'm going to say April 21st. That's probably close enough. And when I do that, I'm going to grab in my little bag of tricks here, not that bag of tricks. These are the bags of tricks that I take with me when I am working on the road, doing things like this, because they're still packed from the last time, and I will be packing those again on tomorrow for a trip. Now, where is that? Darn it. Hold on. I use a little roller date stamp. I'm not sure where the one is that I always use. Must be packed somewhere else. But I'll use this one instead. And Marie House, if you're still here, look what I just found in a drawer. Remember that little guy? That was so sweet. All right, so this would have been April 21st. Now, let's make sure that, oopsie, we stamp that somewhere else first, so we know that it looks right. We'll just stamp this right over here. Yep, 21 April 2024. So now what I need to make sure to do is, I'm just going to write this kind of right over here. I don't want that to be confused with the date of this. So maybe I'll do a little bit of writing over here about why we were on that trip. I keep needing to come back to this, right? Let's take a look at the sticker book from Say Cheese Classic Mouse. So if I wanted to add a little Mickey here, maybe he goes about right here. And then, oh my gosh, those two are cute too, aren't they? Those little guys. If I'm like thinking about making my list, this sticker book has all of these cute little hearts. So maybe if I look at my list, that's so obnoxious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. I need to write one more. 7. So if we did something like this, maybe if we just start kind of our little list with a little run-on, and those will be a little bit of my bullets. Let's figure out what else we might be able to kind of work in over here. So I don't think we're going to find anything like that anymore. So let's pull in some of these guys. What about, oh, you know what I should have done? Actually, I can still do this. I think I'd like to do my date on that. So let's do this instead. There. We'll just restamp that. Oopsie. I am. You know what happens at the end of the day? Sometimes my brain stops working. I blurred it a little bit. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. I blurred it a little bit. All right. What if this guy maybe comes over here? A little bit like this. Oh, wasn't that nice? Look at that. That's crazy. It fits like perfectly. Like it was planned, and it was not. That fits perfectly. So, what else? I need some things in here. So, what would those want to be? What about? Oh, here we go. Here we go. So, some word strip stickers. Me and the mouse could come over here maybe. And how about this one? Who says we have to grow up? We'll do that like that. That will be kind of in the middle of our list. Aspens, yes, Carol. We do have aspens here in Utah, but then we also have maple. And so the aspens, you end up with lots of beautiful yellows and golds. And then obviously the maples, lots of your reds and oranges. But we get a good mix of both, which is really fun, Maybe we'll just do this little guy over here. This little banner over here. No, I'm not going to do that. I have all those circles and all those circles there, so that will bother me. If I wanted, I could probably do that. Let's pick this up. We'll just replace that in a moment. Do this over here. And it also just so happens to fit very well left to right for us. All right. So, you know what? I just had an idea. I have a perfect bullet stamp to use for my little list here. And it's a little half ear. That is from Bullets and More 3, the Bullets and More 3 stamp set. Deb R said, our aspens try to take over our yard. We're forever thinning them out. Yes, aspens, as beautiful as they are, aspen trees are amazingly gorgeous. They have the most prolific, I think that might be the right word, one of the most prolific root systems of any trees. One of the world's largest living organisms is a grove of aspen trees in Colorado. That, won't that be cute? Look at that. That is like giant, but they're all connected. It's like one giant root system, which is kind of fun. All right, so let's go here and I can start writing my list. Postcards. They're great for the perfect photo, right? When you can't quite get the best picture of the postcard or of the castle. They're great for the perfect photo. And so fun to fill out and mail back to myself, especially when I travel internationally. Those two, if you're doing like a mini book, a postcard like that, I mean, in a traveler's notebook like this, you can totally do what we're doing with a tip in, but also really fun just to punch holes in and then put them in your mini book. So I guess we'll start our next one right here. So postcards, I really enjoy doing. Let's see. Hello, Carmen. Yes, we're doing the things I collect when I travel. And we're doing it kind of junk journal or glue book style. Usually, this is what I'm doing with things when I travel, right? The things I collect. I'm just putting them in my traveler's notebook, one of my traveler's notebooks. So I thought it'd be fun to do this list kind of that style because it's a lot of what I collect. All right, so postcards, stickers. You can usually find great stickers everywhere you go. Now, heads up, internationally, not easy. You know how when you go, national parks or when you go, to a lot of places, at least in the US, you can find so many things like this. That is Jackson Hole. Tons of postcards, sometimes business cards. But I have a ton of postcard or stickers in here somewhere. Oh yes, here we go. So you can usually find all kinds of great stickers. Like, why is Flaming Gorge in there? Oh my goodness. Uh-huh. I would be really confused when I went to do the Flaming Gorge one. That is misplaced. Anyhow, you can usually find lots of stickers like that different places you go in the US. That is not the case, at least in Amsterdam and Scotland and Ireland. Not the case at all. So if you are trying to find things like that and you're international, just good luck. But if you can't find stickers, there's other things you can find, like maps. Most cities have free maps in their visitor centers. And those are fun to cut up too, right? Especially if you're maybe on like a road trip and you're cutting up little maps. Okay, brochures, same thing. Brochures. The more touristy, the better. And sometimes sometimes you might find like a real estate magazine in a town or something like that, right? So back to that Jackson Hole bag. There's probably, there were so many things to take from Jackson Hole. Western Home Journal, free magazine, right? So I might not even be interested in, because they're trying to sell homes and things like that, new appliances. But this is kind of cool. Like, look at that, Jackson Hole. So I might just be cutting that out. So I'm not super particular when it comes to whatever it is that I am picking up, because I never know how I might be able to use something, even if it's just a cool title, on an ad or something. Your dream, right? Or dream or something like that. All right. So lots of brochures, magazines. 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 And it's, again, the free ones. The free touristy ones. All right. Now, there's a couple things here that are not necessarily what you might find. Collectible things. Pins, right? I could add pins. Pins. They go on my pin board. All right, now there's two more things. So I'm going to go grab something so I can show you guys. So I will be right back. Let me go grab these two things, because these are like the other two main things I collect from places I visit. All right, here are the other two things. Rocks and beach glass. Okay, beach glass, you guys. I am obsessed with beach glass or sea glass. Difference between beach glass and sea glass. Sea glass is from the ocean. Beach glass is any beach. So it could be, any beach could be from like a lake or something like that. But this is a very carefully curated collection of beach glass from probably the last maybe 15 or 20 years. You can see some of the colors are very easy to find. Some are not easy to find, like the blue. Somewhere in here, there's a little teeny tiny red one. But when we are places, beaches where this is even you can even find a little tiny bit, I will spend hours walking the beach looking for beach glass. None of this beach glass is from Fort Bragg. Glass Beach in Fort Bragg, because you're not supposed to take it. So none of that is from Fort Bragg. So beach glass, I'll add to my list here. And then, oh, I also have lots of brown beach glass, but it's not as pretty, so I don't. And then rocks. Rocks. I have rocks from all over the world. I don't know, there's just something about rocks, and I look for pretty rocks, and if they fit really nicely in my hand. These right here are all from the Oregon coast. There's a beach there called Whales Head Beach, and there's a lot of really big, like granite. If you've ever done Oregon coast or seen pictures of Oregon coast, really big, like granite, ginormous rocks in the ocean. But one beach that we went to just had tons of rocks that looked like this. So I have rocks everywhere. Anyhow, so those are two other things that I collect from places that we visit. So I will add those here. Did not collect any of those things when we were in Orlando, but definitely collect those from the places that we visit. So I'm going to say beach glass first. Beach or sea glass. I would bet that probably 30% of what is in that beach glass container I found when we were in Scotland. Little did I know. I don't know, if I had known that that was going to happen in Scotland, I probably would have gone to Scotland a lot sooner than we did. So much beach and sea glass in Scotland in certain areas. It was unbelievable. Like, I was dreaming about it every night. And Nick is very good. He'll let me do that for a little while, but he's like, okay, look, okay, enough already. We're not here to get the beach glass. We're here to see the country. So, but somebody asked on Saturday, is it okay to take beach glass? And I thought that was a great question. In most areas, yes. Like in Scotland, it's considered trash. So it is okay to take. Because I Googled it before I started collecting. And then in Fort Bragg, California on Glass Beach, it is not okay to take it there. If you are into beach glass, I highly encourage you to Google Glass Beach in Fort Bragg, California. You've never seen anything like it. In certain spots, the whole beach is covered in millions, trillions of little tiny pieces of beach glass. It's amazing. All right, beach or sea glass. I've collected for the last 20 years. It makes me so happy. And it's especially beautiful when it is wet, right? Because then it looks all nice and shiny, like glass. Yes, so Patty said, hi, Patty. Patty said, not cool to take sand from the black sand beach in Maui, right? So if you are collecting anything when you're traveling, your brochures and maps, those things are okay. But if you're collecting anything when you're traveling, always a good idea to Google to make sure it's okay. Because Patty's absolutely right about, and it's certain, in certain places it's okay to take, and in other places it's not. If you ever watched the Brady Bunch, when the Brady Bunch went to Hawaii, it's also not okay to take. If you find little, what were they? What did Greg find in a cave or in the ocean, and then they got all the bad luck? A little tiki. He found a little tiki. I'm just, kidding. But yeah, always you should find out before you go or before you start collecting to make sure, that things are okay before you start bringing them home with you. All right. So I have one more here, the rocks, and especially my very favorite collecting, heart rocks. Heart rocks. Rocks that are shaped like hearts. Yes, a tiki. Did you guys remember that? Did you see that Brady Bunch episode? And then Greg took it, and then they had all kinds of bad luck, and they had to try to get it back. Oh yes, rocks. Especially heart. Now, what I'll do is I can use another one of these little hearts in here. that I was going to plan to use all over, but then I didn't need to. Especially heart-shaped rocks. All right, so there is my list of things that I collect from places I visit. And I kind of mashed that together with my little glue book, junk book style. So over here, I just put a few things in here, but here I need to add more things. But I think what I will do is instead of like continuing to find things in my stash here and pull things out, I will do that. I'll do that later so that we can move on to our next list because, you know, it is a school night. Well, you know what I mean. Not really a school night for me, but you know, we all have things to do tomorrow. So I'm just going to put this little guy right here so I don't lose it. That will be a good place for it to visit. And then usually on this side, I write a little bit about where we are or why we were there or, you know, what we were doing. So I'll kind of do that as I go to finish that later. But that is our first list. Things I collect from places I visit. Now, actually, the last thing I need to do over here, because I don't want to get confused by that date, maybe if I just do this. When we were there. And then I'll just draw like this little arrow up here. Like that. And then over here, today is October 1st. There. All right. So let's grab, let me put those little guys away and we'll move on to our next list. I remember I saw somebody had said something in the chat and I forget what it was. So let me go back, although I want to read some of the comments. I won't necessarily look for that. Let's see. Carmen said her travel book is very junky and wide mouth, very fun. She also hits every visitor center. Yeah, I love to go to the visitor centers too. If you did not know, this I always have to give a plug for this. If you did not know, national parks, visitor centers for state parks, monuments, a lot of times we'll also have them, but every national park has, and look, I even say things like that because you just never know what you might do with them, right? You just never know what you might do with them. I'm looking for I can't believe I have two trips mixed in here. Where? I think maybe I saw it here because this I always want to make sure people know because a lot of people don't know about this thing. Oh yes, here. So national parks, state parks, definitely national parks. In the visitor center, it's usually in the back, they have a little stamping station. The stamping station, every place you go has a different stamp that is specific to where you are. And most, if not all of them, also have the little date stamp in the center. So that right there, I stamped when we were in Flaming Gorge, at the visitor center in Flaming Gorge on July 21st. So they have little pieces of paper there. So if you don't have your passport book, your national stamp passport book, or you don't have your traveler's notebook or something, I always stamp a number of those so that I can come home and use them, you know, wherever I might want. There's another one from Flaming Gorge. There's another one, a couple more from Flaming Gorge. So those, all national parks have those, and a lot of state parks too. So those are always really fun things to incorporate into your, any project really, whether you're doing kind of this junk journal glue book type of crafting, or, you know, if you just want to add it to something. Okay, so that was our first list. Our second list is about last month. So let me get some of these things put away, friends, because this is, it will make it a lot easier for us if I put some of these things away. Our next one is about last month. So we just did about last month for August on Saturday. And the reason that we just did it on Saturday, that was the first Saturday that we were together in the month of September. So when we do that list, we are doing it at the start of a brand new month for the prior month. Again, that's why we did it last Saturday, because it was the first time we were together. And when we do an about last month list, this is a list I started doing probably, I don't know, I think August of 2020, the beginning of the pandemic, because we were just doing a ton of listing. And I thought, hey, it might be fun to make a list of just the things I did last month. And that turned into, well, then I called it about last month, and it has been about last month ever since. So the whole idea behind about last month is, I'm talking and not thinking about what I'm doing. The whole idea about last month is you pair some photos with some words and maybe a washi or die cuts or stickers or two, and then you call it good, right? So it is quick. Well, if I were to just sit down and do it by myself and not do it this way, it would be quick. Wouldn't take me more than an hour max. It's easy because I'm basically doing the same thing every time. I basically stick with the same format the entire time I've done it. I switch up a stamp set every year, so I have a new stamp set that I incorporate, that I release and incorporate every year. And yeah. So for this list, oh golly, I have to. Public service announcement. Clean off your stamps right away and put them away before you move on to something, because especially these little bullet stamps, sometimes I totally forget and they end up sitting on the end of my little stamping stylus until I'm ready to use my stamping stylus again. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, that's where that is. But you don't want to, little guys especially, because they're so small, you can lose them really easily. So always clean up, always put your stamps away, clean them and put them away before you move on to something else. You will thank me for it. I have a number of my bullet stamps that are missing 1 or 2 or 3 out of my own personal stash because I did not put things away like I should have. All right, let me throw that back in there. Okay. List two. Oh yeah. Photo and stamp to start. So photo. Depending on what photos I have and how many photos I might want to use, I am switching up the photo that I use on the left or on the right. And the reason I say the photo, that is one photo. That is a 5x7 photo. And 9 individual photos are printed on that one photo. When I am doing my listing, 99.999% of the time, I'm using the same printer, and that is the Epson PictureMate PM400 printer. That I have linked in the description box of the video. It prints 3.5x5, 4x6, and 5x7 photos, the same little printer. It is a dynamo power horse. It is very good quality, especially for the price. I use that printer in conjunction with the app, and that is the Epson Creative Print app. The app is what really kicks up that printer a notch. It is really easy to use. It is a very powerful app. After many years of having questions from people on, would you please do a video on how to use the app and all of your little tips and tricks? I did a video, and it's here on my YouTube channel, on how to use that Epson Creative Print app. One of the best things about the app is the pre-configured template. So this is a pre-configured template that I just omitted 3 photos from. Okay, so normally on something like this, you would put photos there. But I like to kind of leave that blank so I can decorate. But you have all kinds of different pre-configured templates. So this would be, let's see in here. This is actually this. You can do photo strips very easily with it. All I did in that one is print something like this and then cut that strip off. So really easy photo strips. That's the same template I used there. I know I have some others in here. There we go. That's another template. So, right, still a 5x7, but this one has 4 3x4s. So lots of different templates. That is another template. This is in the news from July. There's 1 photo there and 2 down below. So lots of different templates that you can pick in order to kind of decide how many photos you want on a sheet or on your photo that you're printing out. Sometimes what I'll do, if I just want a bunch of little single photos like that, I'll print a whole bunch of photos on there and then just come in and cut my little photos out so that it's no longer a 5x7, but your smaller little square photos. So that is how I always start with the photo or the photo of photos. I need to narrow this down just a little bit. So this is 5x7. My insert is a standard wide insert, so it is 5 inches wide by 8.25 inches tall. So 5 and 5, but this isn't really 5. It's a little bit narrower than 5 because we lose a couple of millimeters, I guess, for the staples in the center. So I just need to narrow this down just a titch, just a little bit, and then it will fit. Marilee, did I see you? Were you here? I thought I saw Marilee leave a comment and then she took it away. Always makes me wonder when you guys leave a comment on the chat and then you take it away. I mean, I know that I'm pretty sure you're not writing anything bad that you kind of then have regret over and then you take it away, right? All right, so here we go. We're gonna do that and grab our little tape runner there. Let's see, Carol just said, I bought your About last month digital stamp and use it in your memory keeping. I love that. I love that, Carol. All right, so there we go. That is the start. Now, for this list, I'm going to be using products from Cider and Donuts. So Simple Stories, their fall collection this year is cider and donuts. So I need to put that washi away. That is all Mickey washi. We don't want to use Mickey washi in the fall with cider and donuts. So, I mean, not there's anything wrong with that. That's just not what I want to do. Put that away. Those little pouches, you'll notice too, I use those to store my collections in. So this one, since I don't have anything bigger than, pretty much I think my rub-ons are, probably 6x8. So it fits in my little pouches. And then other collections, if I have taller things, I store in the larger pouches. Maureen. Hello, Maureen. What kind of photo paper do I use? Glossy, ultra premium? I use glossy. That's what I like to use. Sometimes I'll use matte, but it's usually glossy. And it is linked in the description box of the video as well. So right below the printer, you'll probably see that about 2/3 of the way down. Right below the link to the printer, I link to the 2 sizes I use, a 5x7 and a 4x6. But I don't know, I just use glossy. Hello, Zen Girls. Said, because I don't pay attention, I missed you were doing listing today. I got to start doing when I watch. I haven't even done one. But you like watching. And you know what, Zen Girls, that's okay. You could just watch, right? I know sometimes I just like to hop on and watch people or kind of listen because it's like having somebody, keeping company with you, right? So totally good. Hello, Martine from the Netherlands. Martine, what time is it there? It's like the middle of the night there, isn't it, Martine? I think. Oh no, you're in North Carolina right now, right? Oh wait, you're in North Carolina and that's where, were you okay with the flooding? Was that okay? All right, Martine and I are just having a little chat here, friends. All right, so in terms of what I want to use with this, Nancy said she's also doing About last month, but she's not including photos on hers. And guess what, friends? The only thing that you need to list is something to write with and something to write on. That's all you need, okay? So if you use photos, great. If you don't use photos, great. If you follow me in my listing, I don't use photos on all of my lists. It's not even like 50-50. It's maybe more like 30-70, if that. So maybe 30% or 25% of my lists have photos, but a lot of them don't. And I think that was really freeing to me when I started listing. Sometimes it would prevent me from working on something because I felt like I didn't have a photo for it. If I didn't have a photo for it, well, then how am I going to be creative? So a lot of what we do doesn't include photos. And if we want it to include photos, doesn't necessarily have to be our own photos, right? Doesn't have to be our own photos either. I'm so glad it was ready for you at your cousin. So Martine lives in the Netherlands. She is in the U.S. For a vacation, right? 2 hours away from Asheville. Oh my goodness, so lucky. That's so fortunate. I'm so glad everything's okay. All right. So I will be doing some washi. So washi these are two of the rolls of washi that I pulled out from Cider and Donuts because they go well together. And they both have, well, there's a narrow and a regular size. So thought I would use those. Oh, I love it. Joe Disney fan is working on something totally different. She is putting together and decorating our traveler's notebook calendar for the next 3 months. I would be willing to bet that, I bet not even half of you that are here at any given time are listing with me. You are working on another project, or you're working, or you're cleaning the house, or, so that's good. Whatever you're working on, or however I can be of help to you. Karen said she has a few pages in each insert that have photos, but most are just lists with titles and stickers, die cuts, and a date, right? Because here's the thing. What we're doing is we're basically telling a story. Anytime we list, we are telling a story. And all of our photos don't, oopsie, that didn't mean to do that. Oh, the heck. All of our stories don't have to have photos. And again, it goes back to don't let not having a photo stop you from telling a story. And things like this, if you were doing a list about your favorite high school fashion and you're like, well, I don't have any photos of myself in high school in fashion, I don't really have anything I could use with that. Well, that shouldn't stop you from making a list. You don't have to have photos. And if you did want to have photos, you can just Google and find whatever high school fashion photos were from your generation. Like maybe fluorescent clothing. We did that actually. We have done a list in the past about your high school fashion. We've also done a list about things I hope never come back. And that made me think of that because I did have, I think fluorescent clothing was also on that list. Along with MC Hammer pants. And I can see the list in my head. And mullets. Mullet haircuts. Now, nothing wrong with a mullet haircut, right? My list is my list. Your list is your list. So, but mullet, it was really funny. I did have some photos on that list, but none of them were mine. Like I had a photo of Andre Agassi that I got on the internet of him because he was kind of back in the day, very well known for his mullets. Mullet, if you're not sure what a mullet is, it is someone that has haircut that is kind of shorter on top and longer in the back. A mullet. Some people will refer to that as like business in the front, party in the back, but a mullet, yeah. All right, I'm just like on major squirrel tonight, you guys. I'm all over the board, aren't I? I am all over the board. Carla is doing a layout for a creative team that she's going to print and add to my traveler's notebook. She uses photos on most of her pages. Sorry about that. On most of her pages. Let's see. Oh, I can kind of hear myself there. All right, so now I'm ready for some little decorating over here. And once I get a feel for the color kind of palette that I'm going with, then I can start doing my stamping. But until I kind of have some colors picked out, then it's a little bit harder to pick the colors for my stamping over here. So I have pulled out the Cider and Donuts sticker book and some of the die cut packs. So these are I think I might have some things that are mixed in here, some things that are not in here that are in other places. These are the floral bits, and the floral bits are always so fun. And look I can put one giant floral bit there and it covers up, it covers up a lot of that space. If I want to cover up a lot of the space, right? I kind of like that little mushroom too. That mushroom is sure cute. I don't know, we may just end up with, mushroom could maybe go here. And then, I don't know, we might just end up with something like this. Maybe these little guys. That one could go there. That one would work really well right there to kind of fill in that little bit of white space. And then just something right there. So, would we like one of these to go in there? That could certainly work. Boy, that part's going to go really fast, I think, because it's just kind of filling itself right in. Maybe that. All right, that actually, I think I like the way that is looking. I need one more little thing right there. There's a lot. September was an incredibly busy, in my world, crazy month. We'll talk about that as I start doing my list. An acorn is always a good idea, especially in the fall. And what about this? No, that makes it up there. I don't like that up there. It's too much. It was just that's too full. So we don't like that there. I need something a little bit more, a little bit less full. That's not actually less full, but maybe that works. Like that. Okay, so now I look at all that and I go, okay, that's awesome. I like how full that is. I like where all of those things are placed. And then what happens? Well, those are all die cuts. And now I didn't glue any of them on, right? Because I wasn't ready to glue yet, not ready. So now what do? How do I get all of those then placed, pull it all off, and then place them again in that place where I liked it, right? And Pamela is exactly right. Pamela said blue tape. So my blue tape is, I think, packed away. So my tape is going to be purple. But it's basically the same thing. This is highlighter tape. Okay, it's highlighter tape. It is meant for like highlighting textbooks. It is repositionable, and it is not like washi tape. Washi tape, you know, sometimes if you stick it down, it will pull a little bit of the paper up. Highlighter tape is meant to be pulled off of something as, you know, kind of thin as a textbook or a book, and then repositioned, replaced. So what I do with this, because it's repositionable, reusable, you see how I have some of the strips I've already used or just on the tape dispenser itself. You're going to come in with your little repositionable tape and just start putting it down on your pieces. Basically with that tape, I'm starting to join those pieces together because I want to take all of those individual die cuts and basically turn them into one die cut, right? So I can take it off in one piece and then do my adhesive. So these, because it's reusable, these rolls last forever because I just keep using them and reusing them and using them and reusing them. All right, so I'm pretty sure I have everything now connected, and now I can pull that off all in one piece. And now I can go about putting my adhesive on the back of that. So let's do my tape runner on the big ones. And then I will come back in and use a glue stick on some of those small, not glue stick, a glue pen on some of those smaller little spots. Like that. But that, if you ever struggle with, I mean, sometimes it takes you a little bit of trial and error until you get things to look exactly the way you want it. But then you get it exactly the way you want it, then you've got to pull it all back off again in order to, in order to then add your adhesive. So that highlighter tape is awesome for that. I have it on, it's also listed under the what I'm using link on the website or in the description box of the video down below. But I have that on my website. The colors, it's interesting. The colors go in and out. Sometimes they have different colors that are sold out, but it's all basically the same. Well, not basically the same. It's all exactly the same, except, it's a different color. All right, so now I press all of those things back down and pull that repositionable tape off. And that is not going to pull off any of your ink or any of the paper or anything like that. I didn't get enough little, I think my glue pen here is about ready to go to the glue pen graveyard. Get that back down again. All right, and then reusable, so I just put it right back up on that little thing. And we'll go to the next guy. Same thing. That's great if you are maybe doing die cuts for, oh, I just remembered I was going to do something on there. I didn't, oh well. That is great for die cuts like this, or if you are maybe doing your own die cuts, maybe you have dies for alphabet letters and you want to spell a word. Much easier to kind of get your word placed and then just with all the individual letters and then pick it up and then put it back down, right? All right, so there we go. That, I love the floral bits that Simple Stories does. And I think floral bits are mixed in with one of those other things. All right, so now we have a good idea of what's happening here with our color palette, right? So I have enough going now that I can decide what I want to stamp with. So let's grab our swatches, my little swatch book. So I have used the Swatch This Inks stamp set to swatch all of my Distress Oxides, okay? I have all of the Distress Oxide colors, and I have each color swatched. So when I am looking at this, I'm like, ooh, do I want to use fossilized amber? You know, fossilized amber is actually a little bit lighter, but it would probably be okay. Mustard seed, way too yellow. Scattered straw. So scattered straw goes really well, but it's kind of, you know, not as maybe as good as fossilized amber. So if I wanted to use a yellow, it'd probably be fossilized amber. Let's look into some of these rusty colors maybe and see if I want to use a rusty color. Peeled paint. Peeled paint could work, although it's kind of a little bit lighter. So let's see. Peeled paint. Oh, we've got more greens back here. Scattered olive. Or excuse me, scattered olive. Crushed olive, not scattered olive. The greens might need to go more towards the browns. Let's see. I'm still thinking fossilized amber. That pink is a really hard one to get. So I think we might have to find maybe like that maroonish color. Or a brown, crushed corduroy would work. All right, so look at how much easier it is to have, oh, tea dye. Tea dye goes well, but then over here it'll just kind of be meh, not very fun. I'm thinking what's the maroon one? What is the maroon one? Can't remember the name. I know the names of the ones that I use all the time, but the maroon one, not fired brick. Oh, aged mahogany, not maroon. Aged mahogany. So let's try aged mahogany and maybe fossilized amber. So I'm just grabbing those colors over here. Aged mahogany, where the heck would that be? Aged mahogany, where are you? Maybe it should be in the browns, right? Because look at all of my inks are on trays like this, and they're all kind of in Reggie order. So I just have to find, assuming I put it away in the right place, it should then kind of be up in the red maybe, right? Oh, there it is. I just didn't go to the second sheet of reds. All right, here we go. Maybe aged mahogany and fossilized amber. I think those may be the two colors that I go with up here for my stamping. So we better do our outlining though. Oh, not that one. That's for writing on slick surfaces. We don't want that one. So if I have a lot going on in a month, or maybe I have a lot going on, but maybe I don't have a lot of photos, I might pick a photo template that has fewer photos. Or maybe I have a lot going on and I have a lot of photos, but I really just want to focus on photo-wise, you know, maybe 4 or 6 photos. That's usually how I just decide on how many photos or, you know, what template I want to do. depending on what I have. All right, what did I get on there? Okay, we're gonna put this off to the side for a second. We are going to get my little stamping just tester notebook out. And we have aged mahogany and we have fossilized amber. I have the About Last Month 2024 stamp set. If we did, so this stamp set, 6x8 stamp set, it's very versatile. You can do lots of different things with it when you're doing About Last Month, but you can do lots of different things with it outside of that because you have your handwritten months, you have your numbers, you have icons, you have word strips, different things. So sometimes I use that little block and put the month in there. Other times, like last month, I totally went rogue. And did something completely different. I used the stamp that says About Last Month, but then used a die cut for August. But I think what I will do for this one, I think I will do maybe this guy. So if we do the block, and then we also do the solid that goes behind the block. If I did that, well, clearly I would need to do the yellow in the solid and then the aged mahogany on top and then the aged mahogany in the whatever I'm stamping inside. So let's try it. Let's see what we get. And we will always test it out first. Always, always, always. And that's kind of what I had done here when we were working on the June version. You can kind of test out different things to see what you like. But it's also a really good idea to test out your colors, right? So you're kind of like, well, am I going to like that color? Also make sure you don't have any like lint or hair or anything like that in your stamp. This one has had lots of yellow used with it. That's why it looks kind of yellow. So that has stained the photopolymer, the material, but not affected how it stamps.
Come on.
Are you leaving?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, goodbye.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye. All right, so when I do this, and I'm doing a 2-layer. When I say 2-layer, the fossilized amber is going to be the base, and then the aged mahogany will go on top of that with that kind of outline. I usually will do the base layer first, and then that's the lighter layer, and then I will stamp the darker layer on top. The reason I usually do lighter than darker is if you stamp the darker first, like outline, if I were to do this one first, then it's going to be affected by that ink going on top of it. It's kind of going to dull it. So in this example, if I had stamped the black first and then stamped the teal or the cracked pistachio on top of it, it would have really kind of changed the color of the black. And that's just personal preference. And sometimes you don't know how that's going to look. So sometimes it's just a good idea to test to see what you're going to get, right? Test and see what you're going to get. Because it will look different both ways. Will that guy work on there? Oh, it sure will. All right. So now let's ink this guy up with aged mahogany. And we might like it, but we might not like the way it looks on top of there, right? Because our Distress Oxides are pigment-based inks. They take a little bit longer to dry than like your regular dye-based inks. They're also blendable. So sometimes it could affect it might interact with the yellow in this case, but I like it. I think it's good. So that is how my little block will look with those two colors. And I like that. I think we're good to go with that. So now that I've tested that out and I feel comfortable with that, I am going to come back in and re-ink the stamp, right? I need to re-ink it again because there's not enough ink on there. When I tested before, everything was nice and solid. So I didn't have any like spacing or hair. Oops, I do see a little hair there. In the stamp that's going to affect that stamped impression. So this is really important. I might have to ink that again. If I had not done anything on this page, if it was blank, basically if this was our first page, I could go ahead and stamp directly right there. But I can't do that. And the reason why I can't do that, or I shouldn't do that, is because look what's happened over here. I have a couple of different layers. This is going to get in the way of where I'm about to stamp, as are those letters. They're going to get in the way of where I'm about to stamp. So if I were to stamp right now directly on that page, I'm going to have another issue, but I'll have to fix it. If I were to stamp directly on this page, I wouldn't be happy with the way it turned out because those things are in the way, but not if I put a pencil board in between. So pencil board, I'm going to do this really quickly just so this doesn't dry out too much, and then we'll talk about all the things that I just kind of went through very, very quickly. All right, so pencil board is basically a fancy name for a flat surface that you put underneath something so you can stamp and or write on it without being affected by what's underneath it, right? So, want that nice and solid pressure. Woo, pretty. So by sliding that pencil board in between those pages, I get a nice solid stamped impression. If I had not put something flat in between there, then look at where I'm stamping. That stamping is going to hit right, really like literally on all of those things, and it would not look good. We would not like the way that that looked because it'd be all blotchy because it wouldn't be able to hit flat where those things are raised, if that makes sense. So that's what a pencil board is for. Since I can't take these pages out and stamp directly on my work surface, I need to put something underneath. All right, now this is the other thing that's happening. I very quickly, as I was getting ready to stamp, I looked back here. I looked back here because you should always double check what you have done before you start doing something. So here, and this isn't bad, it's going to be okay, but where it's probably not going to be okay is when I stamp the darker, I'm going to have a little bit of shadowing or ghosting here. And that's okay. Just what I'll have to do is I'll probably put something over that area so you don't see the shadowing or ghosting. So you should always check to see what you're doing, what you've done before, and what you're about to do is going to affect what you had done before. All right, so let's, I'll clean that guy in a minute. Let's get this guy ready to go now. So stamping aged mahogany on top of that fossilized amber. Make sure I get that all nice and inked up. Pencil board again, right? For the same reason, I need that pencil board again. And I am going to stamp this now right over the top. So this time of year, it's October. We are very much in the design process of new products for, November, but then also in 2025. And that would include the About Last Month stamp set for next year, because there is a new stamp set that we do every year. Now I bobbled that a little bit. So you see how it's a little bit blurry right there? I'll just put something over it. I'll find a cute little sticker to put over it. Now I do want to clean these off right away. This one is just going to continue to look yellow because that pigment. I've used yellow on this particular solid stamp quite a bit. So it's just stained it yellow. Wouldn't affect, if I put pink on there right now, it wouldn't affect it. It's just the polymer gets stained. So where did that stamp set go? I'm gonna put that back right here. I think this is the third, oops, not there. This is the third version, or the third, we did a About Last Month stamp set in 2022, and in 2023, and in 2024. So this is the third About Last Month stamp set that we've done. Hello, 111 Renee's. Said, I've missed you all the last couple of crazy months. We've gone from sick family members to a new member of the family, your first grandchild. Oh, I bet that is so exciting. I'm sorry about the 6 family members, but very excited for you and your new grandbaby. That's so fun. So fun. All right, so in that box, I can put the month if I'd like, or I could put about last month. I could stamp month in review. If I put about last month or month in review in that box, then what I usually do would be to take one of the numbers. Like in this case, I put a 9 in the left little box and a 24 in the little right little box. So I knew that it was, you know, whatever that was. But I'm going to put September in that little box. And I am going to swap out those stamping blocks for smaller stamping blocks. One of the biggest, I think, impacts you can have on your stamping, if you want your stamps to turn out right, look nice, right, is to use the right size stamping block. So I think it is very beneficial to spend the money on having an assortment of stamping block sizes, because if you have a really teeny tiny stamp and a really big stamp and you only have one stamping block, that's okay, but you basically have to go with the lowest common denominator. You have to go with a giant stamping block to fit all of your stamps, especially when you start getting down into really small stamps. Makes it a little bit harder to stamp when you have a big stamping block. So having smaller or varying sizes of your stamping blocks, I think, will really help. All right, so there we go. There is September in my little box there, and I like the way that looks. So I want to bring back in my, where did it go? Where is my pencil board? Like literally, oh, duh, it's right there. Right, it would have bit me if it was a snake. Is that what they say? If it was a snake, it would have bit me. All right, September. Last month was September. Do you believe that? It's freaking October 1st, you guys. How is that even possible? How is that even possible? Like, where the heck does time go? All right, there's my little September. And then I would like to add 24 over there. So I'll get out my little stamp. There's 2 versions of the numbers on here. You have like a font, and then you have my handwriting. So since I use September in my handwriting, I think I would like to go with the handwritten year. So down below you have the 24, 25, and 26. So you can use the stamp for, you can use a stamp for a long time, forever, really. But you could also use, you know, you have those little years in handwritten. And I don't know, I'm all about ease. So even though you had the 2 and the 4, you could stamp those separately. But if I can give you the 2 and the 4 together so you can stamp them just once, then might as well do that, right? We might as well do that. Another little stamp, again, going back to having a number of different stamping blocks. So we've used this one so far and that one. And then we have that little one. So again, if I only have a big stamping block, I'm trying to stamp that little tiny stamp with that big stamping block. And that just, I mean, you can do it. It just makes life so much easier when you have the right sized tool, right? So I pulled out all of these stamping blocks I have on my website. This is actually a set of 2. Those are, well, like round stamping blocks, so much smaller. And when you start to get that small, it's a little bit easier with your fingers to have something that's a little bit smaller and longer to work with, as opposed to a little tiny square. All right, so we'll stamp our little, we better check though, just to make sure. How's our little 24 look? Yeah. September 24. Okay, clean that little guy off, and then we'll be ready to do a little bit more decorating over here, just a little bit. And then we will start our list and then do a little bit of stamping in between each item on our list, because that's what we need to do, because it's a run-on list. All right, let's get these put away, because I am not going to use those stamps for the additional stamping that I want to do. I am going to use mini icons fall. Any icons fall. So we'll use that as kind of my little bullets in between the things on my list. And I think I will use a leaf, and I think maybe that's when I will pull in kind of that darker green color. So were we thinking crushed olive maybe? I think that's maybe what we were thinking. Crushed olive. That would work. Or we kind of have a really, oh, nope. Forest moss. Forest moss is, I guess, a mix between kind of a brown and a green, right? I think forest moss. I think I'd like to go with forest moss because it's a little bit bolder than crushed olive. So let's go with forest moss. Let me put these two away. And find forest moss. It's dark, you guys. Dark in here, huh? Forest moss. Okay, are you in the green forest moss? That sounds funny. Forrest Gump, are you in the green? Forest moss, where? All right, all right. We're still looking. We are still looking. Oh, there we go. It's kind of in, well, it's where it is in that little order. All right, and I think when we do that, I think maybe we should go with, I don't know, I'm thinking this little leaf will be fun. All right, so now I need to just do a little bit of decorating over here. I purposefully didn't put a 9 there because I'd like to do a little bit of decorating. So let's take a look at the sticker book. And you know what's going to have to come in. It's just going to have to come in. We're just going to make room for him because he's going to need to join the party. That would be, let me just check to see if there's another one of him anywhere. Oh, there is. Okay. There are a number of different squirrels in this collection. And look at this little guy. Although I think technically maybe he's a chipmunk. He needs to be in here. He needs to be in our listing party over here. But his tail's quite long, isn't it? What if he does this? I don't want to cover Victoria's face. But I think if we, oh, let's get that out of there. If we have him be partially here and partially here, right? He'll be fun there. And I need to, he's one sticker. Now he's crossed 2 pages. I need to separate that. We don't want to leave that connected. It will make it really difficult for our pages to turn as we get deeper in. And I had actually just separated those with my fingers before. So there we go. That's a good tip. If you ever have a sticker that's really large, maybe you're working in a smaller surface, and you have a sticker that's really large, like say that sweater is really large, and I didn't want to use it on one side because it's too big. If I kind of split it across the 2 pages, then it works. Now, I think maybe one of these little acorn with the leaves would work. Maybe right there. Oh yes, there we go. That can just sit right there. Because now, look it, we have that little leaf that will coordinate very well with that little leaf. And forest moss. I feel like, just hang on. I'm going to second guess myself for one more time because I really like that really dark green. But I don't think there is one. I don't think there is something that is that like army color, right? I'm pretty certain there's not. Crushed olive is not it. Peeled paint. Peeled paint isn't it either, but would peeled paint be better than forest moss? I don't think so. I think it's going to be forest moss. We'll get peeled paint out too, just in case. We'll see what we like. Peeled paint. All right. Let's grab, all right, first one is forest moss. Let's see what we think about forest moss. It's cute. I don't know, we probably like, it's interesting. It does not, it looks like a pretty good green there. So I just cleaned that off, right? I cleaned that off. And I want to dry it off in between before I pick up another color. The reason I want to do that, pigment-based inks, Distress Oxides are pigment-based inks. They are water reactive, so they will react to water. You can do some really cool mixed media things that I do not do because it's just not me, with your Distress Oxides. Watercoloring, blending of the two colors. But if there's any moisture at all on your stamp as you go from one ink to the other, you want to clean in between because you don't want the colors to blend unless you want the colors to blend, but you're not going to get an accurate depiction of the color, which I'm looking for. But you want to dry because if you're not drying, then there's still moisture and again, you're going to get the blending. So I decided Forest Moss. There's not a huge difference. Forest Moss is on the left and Peeled Paint is on the right, but I'm looking for a little bit more of that olivey color because that's kind of what I have a little bit more going on there. All right, so now we are just going to start our little list here. There's our first leaf. And I'm going to my little handy dandy notebook because this is where I've written my things down that happened during the month of September. So sometimes it's not as easy to remember the things that have happened. So I piece those together in a couple of different ways. The very first thing I do is go to my camera roll because my camera roll is really going to fill in most of what I'm documenting in the month of right? So that I write those things down, get the photos or whatever. Next, I go to my calendar because in a lot of cases, my calendar will help to fill in some of those things. But I also have a running note on my phone. And it has all of the things that happen in a month in the news related, and then it has all the things happening in the month that I just jot down. So those three ways, there's three things: my camera roll on my phone, my calendar, and then the little note that I keep open, kind of just a running note on my phone of things that happen. That's how I can remember all the things that happen when I finally sit down to do this. So if you, maybe you work on this every couple of months, do yourself a favor, your photos, your calendar, and make notes. If you're making notes in your phone or making notes on paper or whatever it is, if you have those notes with you, it doesn't matter when you sit down to do something like this. You could do all of this in December for the entire year if you've done those things ahead of time to kind of help you. Hello, Deborah. Nice to see you. Oh, ants in the house. My goodness. Well, first, you get locked out of your house and then you've got ants in the house. Oh, goodness. That's no good. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Ants hate baby powder. Nancy Soanes shares with us. I had no idea. That's good to know, right? It's, I guess, a more humane way of keeping ants out, right? Have fun, Zen girls, putting up your Halloween decorations. Okay. Hello, Dawn Bright Sanders. Okay, so the things on my list. There was a lot of travel during the month of September. So we spent a week in Priest Lake. Priest Lake is in Idaho with the Becks. Our friends have a cabin right on the lake. It is stunning. This is, this is not their cabin. This is a little outbuilding thing that is actually being demolished soon. But this is out of view, like out their kitchen window, and it is just beautiful. So, and I was trying not to cover up Victoria's head and ended up covering up some of that little outbuilding, but that's okay. So we had a lovely time. We usually go up there with them a couple times a year. That is about 20 minutes north, 20 minutes south of the Canadian border. So it is very, 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 very north. Very north. All right. Sam, you know, our younger son, Sam and I had a mommy-son date to the Post Malone concert. Now, I just realized I did this out of order date-wise, but that doesn't really matter because we were in Priest Lake. home for, I don't know, not even a week. And then Nick and I went to Coronado in San Diego. And then home like literally at 4 p.m. And Sam and I went to the concert that night. So Priest Lake, there, Sam, Nick and I are on the beach in Coronado, and then Sam and I at the Post Malone concert. Oh my goodness, you guys, I can't even tell you. We had the best time. Such an amazing concert. If you ever have the opportunity to see Post Malone in concert, I would say run, don't walk. I mean, he is so good. He's so talented. I have to warn you though, he likes to swear. He likes to swear a lot, and they're F-bombs. So if that kind of thing offends you and you can't see past that with his music, then definitely don't go, because that is, yeah, he likes to have fun. Oh, he likes to have fun, no doubt. So I now need to go back. So Nick and I spent a long weekend relaxing in Coronado. We had the best time. Except for the heat. Oh my goodness, it was about 85 degrees. Now, we get lots of heat here in Utah, hundreds in the summer, no problem. But we are not on the ocean, so we have no humidity. Like really, there's no, I mean, the humidity in Utah is so almost non-existent that when you are not used to humidity, you're used to heat, but not humidity. And then when you're on the ocean and then it's hot and humid, oh my goodness, that was a little, but we still had the best time. All right, I taught at the Simple Stories Retreat in Layton. That is in Utah, about an hour from my house, which is amazing because I always fly for retreats. But that was wonderful because it's, I still stayed at the hotel every night, but it was nice to have, everything, to be so close. I taught the Simple Stories Retreat in Layton and had the best time meeting new friends and reconnecting with old. I worked at Simple Stories for 6 years. And so lots of friends, that my friends also that work there. So that was just a really fun event, very fun event. My mom, lots of things happened with my mom in September. My mom fell. Well, I was trying to remember, I think, so she got a new dog. She got a rescue dog. His name is Frankie, but I think she got him in August. But then I think I forgot to include him in August, so then I included him in, so a little picture of him. And I think he's a Maltese. A little picture of him in September. But my mother fell playing tennis. She dove for the ball. And broke her hip. So September was a bit of a kind of crazy. So we were here end of August into September for a week. And then the next weekend, Nick and I were in Coronado for 3 days. And then I got home the day that, like, a couple hours for the concert. We went to the concert. And then that was a Monday. This was on a Thursday, the Simple Stories Retreat. Then on a Monday, the next Monday, my mom fell and broke her hip. And then that Wednesday, I left to teach at another retreat in California. So it was all kind of hectic. My mother fell and broke her hip playing tennis. She dove for the ball. She said she got the point and broke her hip. And the ambulance had to come. So she had surgery that Tuesday. I left Wednesday. Nick took her home on Thursday. Anyhow, she's doing amazing. So yes, Joe Disney fan, thank you. She's doing amazing. She's 77. She can like runs circles around me health-wise and fitness-wise. And she's 5'2", just this little dynamo, but she plays tennis like 3 or 4 days a week. And it's very good that she's so healthy because her recovery from the broken hip would be much more difficult if she wasn't. This is the second time that she's broken her hip. She broke her, this was her left hip. 6 years ago, she broke her right hip. Guess how she broke her right hip, my friends? Playing tennis and dove for a ball. So my mother has broken both of her hips in a span of 6 years. I said, Mom, you cannot dive for any more balls, because if you do, well, you're just not gonna be able to play tennis anymore if you're gonna continue to dive for balls. And she's like, I know. So, but yeah, she's healing very well. Things are going well. It's just, it's hard. It's also hard when you have a dog, because I just took her to the doctor yesterday. She had her stitches out yesterday. He said things are going well. But she's walking and all of that's great, but doesn't feel good about going outside, going downstairs, walking the dog and stuff. So anyhow, but she's good. She'll be awesome. So then a couple days later, I flew to Burbank, California, to teach at the Ready, Set, Create event. Year 10 for me. That event has been around for 10 years and 8 years as a event with a different name prior to that. So that was very exciting for that. So look what just happened here, and it's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. But you see how my little leaf there did not completely stamp? The reason it didn't completely stamp, look what it ran into underneath it. Hello, Vicky Booten. Vicky, it's 10:30 there, dear. You gotta go to sleep. Actually, that's not too bad. That's not too bad for you. 10:30 is not bad. Maybe you got a chance to take a nap today. Anyhow, but do you guys see I didn't have a pencil board under there? And usually when I'm writing, I don't put a pencil board underneath, but stamping, I wasn't paying attention and it ran into that, so it couldn't stamp underneath it. All righty, what do we have next? Oh yes, the story of the missing pallets. The story of 3 missing pallets of product from China. 3,500 pounds worth. That is a whole story that literally we could be here until tomorrow and I'd be just finishing the story. Suffice it to say that some of my product that I had manufactured that shipped from China that had been in Utah for about 3.5 weeks before I finally received it. So yeah, that was a crazy story. But anyhow, it's good. It's here. So Crafty 865 said, Frankie is so cute. He looks like a Shih Tzu. So it's interesting. He's a rescue. So a lot of times with rescue, they don't really know. The people from the Rescue Society said that he was a mix between a Shih Tzu and a Maltese. And my mom is 100% convinced that he's no Shih Tzu and just a Maltese. So she says she's researched. So I don't know. It's funny that you said he looks like a Shih Tzu because, yes, that they said he was part Shih Tzu, part Maltese. Suffice it to say, the products did arrive. They were the albums for my December documented mini book project kit and the Disney mini book project kit, and then a whole bunch of traveler's notebooks inserts. So it all worked out. It just gave me, I've probably lost lots of hair from that ordeal, stress-wise, and maybe a year or 2 off of my life. But it's all good. It's okay. We started shipping in September, 3 project kits. That was a lot. Started shipping the December documented, Disney, and Halloween project kits, plus the September stamp release. So, I tell you, Denise and Lily, I don't even know what I would do without them because there was a lot going on in my world that would make it very difficult for me to also get all those things shipped. So they were awesome. They are awesome. Okay, what else did we have? Oh, our very dear friend, Scott. We had his, we went to his retirement party over the weekend. So basically, this is all just a run on, right? It's one big run on, and it's a recap of things that happened in my world during the month. We met Sam's girlfriend. Anna. And I now have a personalized license plate. Do you guys want to see it? Because you know they send you two. No, I can't show you. I can't show you because you know what? I think you can track people, not track people, but find out lots of information about them based on their license plate. So I will just tell you, it is a black license plate because Utah now has solid black license plate with white letters. And it is a different version of a way that you would spell a squirrel. So that is, I have now the little squirrel personalized license plate, but that's kind of fun. I have a squirrel personalized license plate, and that came this month or last month. So, you guys, there's a lot. There's a lot on my list. There are actually a couple things over here that I didn't have room for, and that's okay. This type of list, if you looked at this list, any of these lists over the last 4+ years that I've been doing them, there are all kinds of different things I put on here. Now, I have a lot going on in my life some months. There was a lot of work travel. There was a lot of personal travel. We met Sim's girlfriend. My mom fell and broke her hip. I mean, there was a lot of things happening this month. But not all of my lists are like this, especially during the pandemic when you couldn't leave the house. Then I was writing things like a couple things I have on my list that I couldn't fit. Nick and I watched on Netflix the show Receivers, which was a very good, entertaining documentary about a handful of receivers, football receivers in the NFL. We also watched The Perfect Couple, which is maybe like a 7 or 8 part miniseries, miniseries or whatever, on Netflix maybe, I'm not sure. It has Nicole Kidman in it. So a lot of times I'm mixing things that are busy with other things that we're doing. Like maybe I got a bunch of fresh flowers from Trader Joe's last month, or maybe we started making butternut squash soup, or maybe we were watching different things on TV, or I read this great book. So your version of this list, if you do or are intrigued about doing a list like this every month, does not have to be all kinds of crazy things going on. It's the whole purpose of this is just basically to document your life, right? Whatever that may be. If you are, you went to the library and checked out books. I mean, it could be you found a new recipe, you went to lunch with your friend. It can really be whatever. The whole point is getting those kind of things down and recorded, telling that story. Okay. All right. Carol has been watching Perfect Couple, Netflix. There we go. Yeah, it was good. Parts of it were, I don't know, parts of it were predictable-ish, but it was very entertaining. I thought it was entertaining. Some very wealthy people that live on H. In the Hamptons. There we go. And there was, anyhow, I won't give it away, but yeah, good. Entertaining. All right, so this list is done. So I am going to put these little things away very quickly. And then let's see, 8:34. All right, it's 8:34 my time, Utah time, mountain time, not Utah time, mountain time. All right, our third list. So you guys have lots of different ways where I get our list topics. Thank you, Carol. There we go. You can see it up close. Lots of different places where I get our list topics. Some of them on my own, like About Last Month is always one. The things I collect, no, actually, things I collect, I think, I want to say, I think things I collect is from, did it come from here? I think maybe it came from here. This is an email my friend Allison Kimball sent me. You guys look at this. Do you see all of these? All of these list topics that she sent me. Okay. So she sent me in almost 2 years ago now. So sometimes I pull from here. One of the lists, our next list that we're going to do is one of the list of topics that she had sent me called different hats I wear. But then I also just all different kinds of places as I think of topics. Sometimes you guys give me topics when we're listing. And when that happens, I put I'll write your name. Like this one said, in my garden, flower bed, Debbie Granham, I think. Things I used to like and now hate, Kathy Peterson. So friends, you guys also friends, things I come up with, different places that I get my lists. But this one is from my friend Allison, hats I wear. Hats I wear. So on this list, we are going to be using Vicky's Bright, Bold and Bright again. I love bold and bright. It just makes me happy. It's just so fun and colorful and bright and bold. Where do these things go, Leo? Where? Do I have a little bin of them? No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where these things came from. Oh well, I'll put them away later. They'll just go on the floor. All right, so this is going to be I think this is going to be a 2-page list, even though really there aren't a lot of things on my list in terms of hats I wear, but I had pulled out some product from Bold and Bright earlier today, and I was going to use that on the About Last Month list, and then I forgot. I got too deep in. So we might use one of the photography stamps in the die. I pulled out the All Smile stamp set. My title I'll be using with Tally Alpha because it's kind of a shorter title, hats, right? So I will use hats as the main part of my title, and then underneath that I will write hats that I wear. And when I say hats that I wear, these are not like a baseball hat, cowboy hat. You know what I mean by hats I wear. Like I'm a daughter, I'm a mother, I'm a friend, things like that. I thought I would also pull in one of these. I don't know which one. I'll probably go with the dot grid to write my list on the dot grid paper. And then I had pulled out these 2 papers from the Bold and Bright paper pad. So if I'm doing kind of 2-page list, I was thinking if this went over here, then my hats I wear could be over here. And then this should just kind of be decorative. I might add a couple things on it, but my main list will be there. So that's my thought. So this is going to be a list that I make off the page. So this list was on the page, right? I did everything on the page. I need to add a little bit more adhesive there later. This one I can do off the page. So I can work on my list here, get them all done, and then glue them into my insert. So we need to trim those papers. Usually when I am working with pattern paper in my traveler's notebook, I am working with paper from a 6x8 pad. Hello, the crafty confidant. Nice to see you. I'm working with paper in a 6x8 pad. The reason for that is, remember we talked about the inserts that I use are standard wide. My Lail by Mail inserts are standard wide. So 5 by 8.25 and a 6x8 pad, 6x8. So I can just trim this down a little bit and then I'm not wasting too much paper. But the other reason is when you're working with a smaller pad, like a 6x6 pad or a 6x8 pad, the pattern is scaled down. So if I had this same paper in a 12x12, it looked the same except those hearts would be larger. They would be scaled up for 12x12. So you get a more of a pattern in your piece if you're working in a smaller pad or smaller piece of paper like that 6x8. So I need to just narrow this down a little bit. The height is good because 8.25 and 8. So generally when I narrow this down, I am trimming these to 4 3/4. So I trim to 4 3/4, and then that gives me a little white border all the way around my page. And then we'll do this one also 4 3/4. And I need to trim the top of this just a tad because there's a little bit of the ink, I don't know, from the top of that product strip on top of that little piece that is just a little bit pink, and I don't want that there. So I'm just gonna trim that little guy off. Like so, all right? So there we are. Now, this will be my left page, this will be my right page. These little pieces that oh no, Nancy, I'm a daughter too. I just didn't, when I rattled those off, I just didn't rattle everything off. But yes, both of my parents are still alive. And so yes, I am also a daughter. And the daughters over here on my list, you know, I just didn't rattle that off yet. All right, so these pieces, I usually say, save these, you guys. Save these pieces because if I didn't want to use 2 pieces of paper for this list, if I wanted to kind of stretch my supplies, I could do something like this, where I have the whole piece over here, and then this smaller piece is here, and I could be doing my list here, or vice versa or whatever. Sometimes I'll even do something like this, where I'll have this here and then that there. So these little pieces, you should totally save when you are, cutting your papers down. Let's see, Nancy just jotted 13 hats down. That is awesome. So you guys, what hats do you wear? What hats do you wear? And you can get creative with what hats you wear, right? I mean, you can also have fun with it and say, you're a mom or a daughter or a friend, you have cowboy hat. I mean, you could, mix it up. Where's my corner rounder? I'm in between, oh, here it is. Like packing for the trip that I'm leaving on Thursday, and the design that I was doing all weekend. And all right, so this is going to be the left page. So I am going to round the outer left corners because my inserts have rounded corners. So I like those corners to be rounded. And then I will round the outer right corners here. Now, I don't make my lists on those things. I will use patterned paper. Well, just a little bit of patterned paper. Carol, the papers are from Vicky's Bold and Bright collection. So you will find those linked in the description box of the video under what I'm using. That's part of the 6x8 paper pad. All right. So this little guy. Okay. So we think this side of the list is just going to be decorative. And I will do my list on this piece. That is a 6x8, my white grid. What is it called? What is it called? It's really not dot grid. It's really grid or graph paper. Yeah. All right. So I am going to trim this down because I want to be able to see a lot of that pink. So let's grab our trimmer again. And so Karen brings up a point. Karen said, I use the entire sheet of a 12x12 and get 4 4x8s and 1 4x4 that I use for a pocket on one of the 4x8s. No scraps ever. So Karen uses a narrower traveler's notebook insert. All right. So that is something I think is important to note. She is able to get so many out of those on her 12x12 paper because she's using an insert that is this narrow. And I know Karen because I know she uses these guys. Yeah, they're standard instead of standard wide. So when you look at the difference, you have about 3/4 of an inch. The standard wide is about 3/4 of an inch wider, which means when you're working something like this, you can get, you would be able to get more pieces out of a 12x12 if you are cutting for your standard insert versus your standard wide. But yeah, you could certainly use 12 by 12 paper, absolutely. Or you could use your little, 4-inch narrow. Here, you just have some space on the left and the right. All right, so this guy, I am going to trim to, I think 3 3 3/4 by 7. I think that's usually what I do. Let's see. So 7. That means by 7, I can still see some of that nice pink. And then I bet that right there, let's see, 3 3/4. Yep, that's funny. I eyeball it. Literally is right where I snapped it. Or, made my little mark. All right, 3 3/4 by 7. So that gives me on my 5 by 8.25 page, that gives me 8 by 4 3/4, and then 7 by 3 3/4, right? We just basically down by an inch or so. Now, this is very stark against that background. So I'm going to ink the edges of that. And we need to find a pretty pink color that we can use to ink the edges. Well, let's use Kitsch Flamingo. I think Kitsch Flamingo will be a nice little match there. So Kitsch Flamingo. And we need that little guy. And we need this guy. So I am using, let's get this out of here. I am using little foam blenders. This is one of my products. It is a ink foam storage kit. I think that's what they're called. Ink blending foam storage kit. So the kit includes the case. It includes, there are, I think, 6 or 7 different ink brands. So these little sheets, the case, 2 little sheets when they are the mini. These are the mini foam blending pieces. And there's also 2 little sheets for the tiny. The tinies are little teeny tiny. The tinies just fit more inks because they're littler. Anyhow, 2 sheets. The minis include space for 40. So you have 20 on the front, 20 on the back. They also include 20 or 40 of your little pre-punched circles. Your pre-punched circles are white. Not all of this is done for you. And then 40 of the little Velcro pieces. And it's the Velcro pieces which are holding your these little guys in place. All right. But that is a great way to store your things like this, because not only store them, but to know what your colors are. Right? Because if you are just having these little guys and you don't know what your colors are, and you don't know what type of ink it is. So for example, you could have Kitsch Flamingo in a distress ink and Kitsch Flamingo in a oxide ink. You don't want to mix them, cross-contaminate them, even though they're the same color, because the oxides have very different properties than the inks. The oxides are pigment-based inks. The distresses are a dye-based ink. And without getting into a lot of detail, you don't want to cross-contaminate color. All right. So anyhow, that's how I know what I have. That's how I know that one is Kitsch Flamingo, because it's in my little storage case that way. So what I'm going to do, I added that little foam head to my little tool here. I'm in a circular motion, running that over the top of my ink pad. I'm picking ink up onto that little foam piece, and then I am just inking the edges of that paper. And that is going to make it so that it's not so like glaringly white, although don't get me wrong, I love glaringly white. I use a lot of white. I like things clean. That's why no mixed media for me generally. But I ink the edges, and that just kind of helps to soften everything up. And then when I set it down on that piece, it's just going to just lay there very nicely. All right, so there we go. There it is, blended. And that is what it looked like without, right? You see what a difference? I mean, it's just super easy, simple, but it just, I think, has a big impact. A big impact. Yes, we are using bold and bright. It frames it. Exactly, Karen, it frames it. Almost like if we took a piece of pink cardstock and matted it. But much easier to do this, right? Much easier to do that. All right, so there we go. And especially since we use ink for other things, right? We can use ink for lots of things, but then also use it for framing or matting our little things there. All right, so there we go. Well, we might as well, let's look at here. When we look at our title, so title is hats, right? Title is hats. So do I want to do orange or do I want to do pink? I think it might be kind of fun to do orange. So let's see, carved pumpkin maybe? Ooh, dried marigold. I don't know, dried marigold. So look at, I think dried marigold. Dried marigold is just a little bit softer. Carved pumpkin is really pretty, but I think it's just too bright. I think we want spiced marmalade. I don't know, spiced marmalade could work too. I thought this might be fun. Somehow work in there. Because do all the things. These are all the hats I wear, so do all the things could be kind of fun, right? So maybe, I'm not quite sure where this would go yet. I'm not quite sure how this would work in here. Do all the things. Actually, we could do this and then just snip off the end of the pencil. So if we're doing that, spiced marmalade works pretty well there, but I think I'm gonna go back to dried marigold. Now let's look at some of the other, before we get too deep here, let's look at some of the other things that I had pulled out. Now, this little guy, this little cat is from one of the products in, is that one of Vicky's? I think maybe, I can't remember. I think it's one of Vicky's. Now, I am a cat mom, right? So that looks very much like Reggie. So I thought that might be kind of fun because that would be on my list as cat mom. So that works because it's just black and white. I pulled a couple of more things. I'm kind of a photographer, right? I could use that. I don't think I'm going to stamp and die with the photography, with the large photography icons tonight, just so we can keep moving things along. Let's see. We have these guys. These are the goodie bag. This is the goodie bag from Bold and Bright. So if I wanted to do a little bit more decorating, maybe over here, let's see what we could go with. My happiness. My happiness doesn't really work anywhere. It doesn't really apply. That would be cute, maybe somewhere in there. Maybe we're just kind of making a little cluster of things over on this side. Today's moments. This day. Keep going, sunshine. Keep going, sunshine. I know it doesn't really work. Actually, you know what? It totally does. Keep going, sunshine. If these are all the hats you wear, sometimes there's a lot of hats. Sometimes you've got a lot going on. So I think we're going to make keep going, sunshine work. I think that'll be cute. Keep going, sunshine, with all the hats. So with that said, now that I kind of have those things, I think I'd still like to do, we've got so much pink going on. I think I'd still like to do the, I think I'd still like to go with the orange, or I could do the black, right? We could do black too. Maybe we should, no, I don't think we should do black. I do black all the time, it feels like. I think we are going to do, oh, I'm just having fun layering all these things here. I think we're going to do a color over there, and then all my writing will be in black, right? So how about that? How about that for my little kind of cluster of things? And since we're doing a cluster, you guys, I'm totally ignoring the chat tonight. I'm just like, over here, you know, just playing. So if I've missed something, I'll try to keep looking up, but if I've missed something, that just ask again or type it again. But there are, you know, we have giveaways, friends. We always do giveaways. So while I'm kind of using that repositionable tape again to put all these things down or keep them into one piece, let's talk about the giveaways. Oh, why did I do that? Giveaways. So giveaways for tonight's session, I have two. Actually, it's kind of what I'm using on this list. So one giveaway is the Tally Alpha stamp set. That is that 6x8 stamp set, the Alpha. And that is one giveaway. Then the other giveaway is a package of both the Grid 6x8 paper pad or paper pack, and then also the lined notebook paper pack that's just like that, but it's lined notebook instead. And there's one more thing with that little giveaway. That is, are they all together now? Yep, all together. These guys, because I thought I might use these, but I don't think, oh, I don't know, maybe. The Clips die cut ephemera. Yeah, Nancy said, now you got my attention. The Clips die cut ephemera. So the second little prize is, or giveaway, not prize, these three. The graph paper, the lined paper, and then those little guys, the die cut. So I have all of these in stamps too. However, if you don't want to stamp and die, you can just buy the little die cut. So I was thinking maybe what I would do. I don't know, we'll see. I could, if I don't want to get my die cut machine out, I could take one of these little dies, and then it's almost like that is my, you know, little clip. It is clipping that on, and I think that will be okay. It's kind of plain, but I think it will be okay because it's black and white, and we'll be working in some black. So I think that's our plan. That is the plan, Stan. So the way that you participate in the giveaways is this. You leave a comment on the video when it is over. Look at that. Magical. One piece. You leave a comment on the video when it is over. And you have any time between now and when we are listing together again. We're listing together again on the 12th of Saturday the 12th, all right? We're listing together again on Saturday the 12th. And leave a comment on the video when it's over, not in the chat. And Saturday morning before we're together, I will draw 2 random lucky winners. And they will win. One person will win Tally Alpha, and the other person will win those other 3 things I showed. So I just pulled out some glue dots. And I am going to use glue dots to adhere these acetate pieces. All right, so I'm just going to put little glue dot. These are actually big glue dots. They're way larger. My other glue dots are packed away for this weekend. Put that there. Sometimes people will ask, okay, so what do I use to adhere acetate, or what do I use to adhere vellum? Sometimes you can use your regular tape runner. Sometimes glue dots are really good, especially if you can kind of camouflage them. Like I camouflage those guys, like right there in the center of that black dot. Down here, sometimes you can use your tape runner. Oh, and then you end up with glue dots everywhere. Sometimes you can use your tape runner. I'm just going to use a little teeny tiny bit on that vellum. Just a little teeny tiny bit, just to help tack it down. All right, so here's that. I just kind of made a little cluster, right? Some rules of layering. And remember, no rules, right? No rules. But some rules of layering. We have different shapes. We have different heights. We have different sizes, right? Like we've got a really long one, and then we have a shorter one. We have large flower, smaller flowers. We've got different, like the shapes going on, different colors. When you're layering those things, if you can work in different shapes, different sizes, and going to say different textures, but I really don't mean texture because there's really no texture to these. But that little guy needs a little something. I didn't put anything behind him. Texture meaning like the edges, right? Not everything is round. Not everything has a squared off edge or straight edge. That will kind of help you to get a nicely layered look. And then generally you want to work in odds instead of evens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this one, I've got so many things going on there. It's okay that I'm at odds, or excuse me, evens. This almost makes it like 2 different pieces. If I had like maybe under 6, I would go 3 or 5 and not 2 or 4, because if you're going in even numbers as opposed to odds, it looks a little bit more, there's something about, in the design world, about having even numbers as opposed to odds. Just makes it look a little bit more balanced. So those are just some of the tips that I use. I didn't get any adhesive behind this guy. Oh, so I need to put him back on. We'll just put a little bit right here in the center of him. I don't think we'll see it. And figure out where he was. Yes, somebody mentioned Creative Cindy uses a Xyron sticker maker. You could totally do that, right? You could do that. But I think for me, what helps here is being able to pick that all up as one piece, as opposed to having each of those guys be little stickers and then trying to get it back down where I liked everything. That's for me where that tape. That's why I generally gravitate towards that tape, so I can kind of take a whole bunch of independently separate icons or die cuts or what have you, and then make them one. And I can pick them back up the same way I put them down. Alrighty, so now let's get this guy down. Did you guys talk about hats? I don't remember. I know I asked. I just don't remember if we talked about hats. And you guys, a lot of times, and I just say this because I know, you guys talk to me, I talk to you when I teach and things like that. For some people, this like layering die cuts is like really stressful. And really, it's just a matter of trying things, like, right? Some of the things we talked about, different sizes, different shapes, a little bit more texture. When I say texture, again, I mean like that's kind of a texture, that's a texture. And then odds versus evens. And then playing, right? You put things down, you pick them up, you like them, you don't like them. And then it just kind of works. All right, so the little clip here. Color is a big thing too. I mean, if I had done all of that and all of that was black, it would look okay. It wouldn't look great. I mean, for me, it wouldn't look great. It might look great if you did it, but it generally, for me, I'm like, I don't like the way that looks. I'd want it to be, you know, different colors as well. All right, so now, because the outlining has to happen, you know that. It's just what I do. And then it also has to happen here. And then I think we're going with the orange. I think we decided we were going with the orange, dried marigold. I didn't pull it out yet, but all right, now hopefully we have enough room to spell hats. I didn't really think about that, did I? I didn't really think about that. I think we'll be okay. We'll see. We shall see. Oh, and guess what? Now look at, see those letters? Very similar to the font that is Tally Alpha. So that will go really well together. That will go really well together. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Hi, Jackie. You missed about 3 hours, so not a ton. But you can always go back. You know that. You can always go back and watch later. Release. So I store all of my stamps in the stamp storage sleeves. That's what this little guy is. For some reason, this one does not have its little backer on there. So all that plastic is sticking. Let me just yank it out. Let me just yank it out in a very gentle way. You know what I mean by the back? Where is that? Like the little plastic sheet that's on the back of the stamps. So, oh, there we go. All those guys were sticking. Okay, so we need hats, but I feel like I should put this down first. Let's put this down first. Sometimes we got to decorate before we do the list. For me, the list is like the last thing we do. I guess that's another reason why I really like listing is because, well, first of all, I'm documenting, I'm telling my story, right? But also it's just play, right? I get to play and I play with lots of different products when we're doing this. And sometimes we stamp, sometimes we use stickers, we use washi, we just play with all different kinds of things. And it's just fun to be able to just play, right? It is fun to play. Cindy said, I have such a hard time with the outlining freehand and writing straight. So when it comes to the outlining freehand, mine is not straight, right? Mine is never meant to be straight. It's more to kind of, look a little bit more free, right? It's meant to look a little bit more free. But that's the look I'm going for. There are a couple things when it comes to outlining that I do. This one I think this is Pretty Little Studio. I don't think that's a Vicky, this little kitty. I think it's Pretty Little Studio. That little Reggie looking guy. When I do it, there's a couple things. I'll just show you this real quick. So my hand is resting always, always, always on whatever I'm writing on. I'm never like this. So it's always resting, and that helps give a little bit of stability. Right, like that. One fluid, smooth motion. The more, I'd say probably the shorter you try to do it, a little bit harder it is. Like when you look at that, you don't have as much, for me, stability as if I do it in one slow motion. And then I turn. And then I'll do kind of as much as I can. And then I can't go any further. I mean, I could, but then it wouldn't look right. So then I just kind of pick that up and go again. And then rotate. But having my hand down, and then also for me, the faster I go, the straighter it is. I know that sounds funny, but the faster that I go, the straighter it is. The slower I go, it tends to get a little bit more crooked. So that's the outlining. Now, when it comes to writing straight, I can't, if you're like journaling or making your list, that is a little bit harder for me to help you with. A tip would be to use something like this as a background that has the kind of lines built in or a little guide built in. So that would help you write straight, if you can see that. The other thing would be, it's okay to get out like a ruler and a pencil and draw your lines and then write on your lines and then erase those lines later. All right, hats. You can tell I didn't clean that off last time. Or that one. That one is clean. Hats. So these are hats I wear. Let's just make sure. Are we going to be okay? Are we going to fit? Boy. We're going to be close. Oh, we're good. But we'll be overlapping a little bit. I'll be doing a little bit of overlap. Dried marigold. All right, where are you, sister? Dried marigold. Here we go. So when I stamp a word out of individual stamps, I stamp each of those letters individually as opposed to line them all up on my stamping block like that. I like to be able to control how close those letters are together, especially if I'm kind of tight and I might need to overlap. And it's just, I do them separately because that's the look I like. You do you, but that's how I like to do it. So that's how I'm going to do it. Just do them separately. Let's see, will they fit? Oh yeah, no, they won't fit on there. So we are looking for, where did the one go that I just had? Oh, this guy. All right, so another thing is I will put the stamp face down on my work surface and then pick it up with the stamping block. Generally, you tend to get a more straight stamp that way. Let me just, that black is not going to affect, shouldn't, but you never know, the ink color. So let's get that cleaned off. Let's get this cleaned off as well. This is just a good idea to clean your stamps right after you use them, instead of what I'm doing now. before I use them again. Same thing that we talked about before. You want to make sure those are dry before you ink them up. If you're using pigment-based ink, water reactive, and it will change the ink. So when I say change the ink, black it wouldn't, but the color, it's very interesting. And some colors are kind of, you see it happen more than others. Cracked pistachio is one of the ones that I think is so interesting because if there's any like water on your stamp, you know, just a little bit of residue from cleaning it, and you stamp with cracked pistachio, blue will tend to come out. You'll see some blue mixed in with kind of that aqua or teal or whatever it is. All right, now let's look and see if we like the dried marigold. So stamps, alphabet stamps, I love because pretty much you buy them once and then you use them for as many times as you need, right? You never run out of yellow H's or red R's or whatever it is, right? Oh yeah, that's gonna be cute. So you're making your investment once and then you always have the color that you need and then the letter that you need. Now I have a little bit of, there's like a little hair or something that was on there. So let me get that off and then dry it again. And then we will stamp. All right, so we know, let's see where this is going to go. I think if I go about right there, and I probably will just, actually, interestingly enough, takes me right. If I stamp every time kind of right on that line, then they'll all be straight, but they fit within. It's interesting because it fits within those little blocks. Like we're not in a half block or anything. So if we go like this, H, O. We are in a half block. I don't know what I was thinking. H. Clean. And I'm not going to worry about drying that off because it'll dry on its own. I'm not stamping with it again right away. So stamping takes a little bit more time, but so much more versatile. And you never run out. You never run out of the letters you need. H. A. T-S. Linda May, yes, that flower is foiled. It is. It's kind of got it's a little bit gold, a little bit iridescent. That's funny. It is foiled. H-A-T-S. Hats I wear. Alrighty. Good night, Debbie Haynes. Joe Disney fan said it's 10 p.m. My back is hurting. You're going to call it a night. Have fun. I hope your back feels better. Yeah, we're getting close here, friends. We're close. We're almost done. We are almost done. And we will not be listing together again until the 12th. That's why we just did one on Saturday and then one today. Yeah, because I am gone out of town teaching this weekend. So we will be listing again on the 12th, Saturday the 12th. Hats I wear. Hats I wear. Hats I wear. Hats I wear. I think I'm going to do it right here. Hats I wear. All right, just because we don't have a ton of room in there. Usually I don't go vertical like that, but I think that's okay. And then we'll do this little underline separator. Hats I wear. All right, now there were a couple more things that I was thinking that I might want to do. I was thinking, I just had an idea. If I, glad that didn't get everywhere. I did not purposefully want to stamp that and then die cut it. If I had stamped it and die cut it, that clip could have been whatever color it wanted ink-wise, or I could have stamped it on, let's say, pattern paper like this, and then die cut it, and it would have been the exact same pattern, right? But if I didn't want to do all that, or maybe I don't have the stamps, and maybe I don't have the dies, or, you know, whatever, I could color that in a little bit with colored pencil. So, or I could do Kitsch Flamingo out of that, because there's Kitsch Flamingo colored pencil. Just like I stamp or swatch my inks, I also swatch my colored pencils. And this even more so than the inks, because, you know, if you're opening this up and you're trying to find an orange or a red, you're testing out, you know, a lot of different colors. So, but I'm thinking maybe if we do the distress pencils, Kitsch Flamingo, that's a bingo. Let's look. Let's look. Now, this will be interesting because those have a little bit of a coating on them. So this may work, it may not, now that I think about it. I will test it on one of these guys. I'll just test it on a different one and not on the one that I've already adhered, just so we can kind of figure it out and see if it'll work. Oh yeah, it'll work, right? So that would be my little pink. Let's do it. We're going to have a pink clip. Oh, speaking of pink clips, I have some really fun clips coming, like real life clips. Like to, you know, sometimes I'll clip my traveler's notebook pages if I'm working on something, or they're just really cute. They're fun colors and fun shapes, so those are coming. But I think they're coming from overseas, so they may take a little bit to get here. I think I'll get them later this month at some point. Anyhow, just kind of side note there. Okay, look, there we go. Now it's my colored clip. All right. This is going to take a while to clean up tomorrow. It will not happen tonight. It will not happen tonight. All right. Okay, so hats I wear. Oh, one more thing I want to do with this Kitsch Flamingo pen while pencil while I have it out. I am going to just add a little bit of color to this line. And I can do that by just kind of writing over it, right? Coloring over it. All right, there we go. So now I'm ready for my list, hats I wear. The hats I wear, well, actually not quite yet. I got one more thing I have to do. One more thing I have to do. Let's see. So I thought it might be fun too. Maybe as I'm writing the list of the hats that I wear, I thought we could pull in maybe a couple of stamps from All Smiles, like living my best life, or kind of a big deal, or enjoying this, or proud of this, or thumbs up, or so good, or HELL yes, kind of a big deal. So there are kind of some fun things that I could, you know, I could stamp in between what is going to be on my list. This one needs a, where's my white papers? My white paper is usually here so that I can easily pull that out. All right. If I wanted to pull in another little something, I don't know, maybe. That's probably overkill. All right, so what would I want to do here? Yep, kind of a big deal. I did it, enjoying this, worth it. You go, girl. Maybe you go, girl. Because look at this, you go, girl is kind of the same font as we have there and have there. So if we did you go, girl, and how about thumbs up? Actually, maybe we want to have 3 of them. You go, girl, thumbs up, and good stuff. Proud of this. You know what? Proud of this. That's okay. I'm going to say proud of this. We can be proud of what we do. We can be proud of all the hats I wear, because there's a lot of hats sometimes, right, friends? Sometimes there's a lot of hats. I tell you, the hat that eventually, well, I knew eventually would be coming into my life, just didn't quite know when, was caregiver, right? So my dad has Alzheimer's, and my mother is extremely independent until, the last 2 weeks when she broke her hip. So caregiver is taken a larger role, especially these last couple of weeks, than normal. And it's interesting with the hats that we wear, how sometimes one hat is way more prominent than the other, right? Sometimes maybe your friend hat has to be put off to the side for a while because your worker hat or employee hat or your caregiver hat or your mother hat or your, has to take precedence over another hat. So I think hats that we wear are kind of interesting. So we can be proud of the hats that we wear. So let's do You Go Girl will be one. We'll just test this little one right over here and make sure we're good. We need a little bit more ink on there, I think. You Go Girl. So these are just going to kind of be interspersed in my writing. You Go Girl. And then we will have maybe a thumbs up. Now, if you wanted to add photos, you could easily add photos to something like this, right? Maybe you're a grandma. Someone, 111 Renee said she's a brand new grandma. So she could be, in her list, she could have a picture of her holding her new grandbaby. And you don't have a photo of everything that you do, but maybe here's the hat she wears, and here's 2 photos, or maybe that's one big photo of her, holding her new grandbaby. So it's easy. You can always work photos in, but you don't have to, right? We don't have to. We shouldn't let not having a photo or not having the right photo or not having the perfect photo prevent us from telling a story, right? Yes. Yes. If you guys were with me in person, you would all be nodding your heads. And if you weren't, I'd say, right. And someone would be like, oh, wait a minute. What? What did you say? And I'd be, right. And you'd say, yes. Yes, Lael. Yes. Oops, I forgot to do proud of this. Test it. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. All right. Now we're ready to write the hats. So someone before had said 13 hats. That's a lot of hats, right? That is a lot of hats. If you are still here, I don't remember who it was. What hat? You guys tell me, what hats do you wear? What hats do you wear? Nancy, me. Are you answering another question? Or is a me hat you wear? Because a me hat could be a hat that you wear, right? Am I understanding that? Am I understand what you're saying? Driver, a Jackie, right? And you know what? This is where it's interesting. In your life, some of the hats that you wear, maybe you don't wear that hat any longer, right? So like when your kids were little, when my kids were little, yeah, I was a driver. I wore a driver hat, right? Not so much anymore. So it's interesting how sometimes your hat just goes away. Chef and maid, Linda May. Jackie, therapist. I would like it. Nancy, daughter, sister, wife, mom, dog mom, MRI tech, x-ray tech, quilter, sewist, chef, laundress. Nancy, you have quite a few. So Nancy, have we talked about the fact that you're an MRI tech before? I've had a number of MRIs in my life, on my brain, on my head. And it's very nice when you have a very nice, kind MRI tech. Well, I don't need explaining anymore because I totally know what's going on. But a lot of times if you're going in for an MRI, generally it's because something is maybe not right. They're worried about something, especially when it's a brain thing. And it's nice to have someone that is, it's very nice to have someone that is very nice and kind when you are in that situation. So I'm sure you would be that kind of person. I'm sure. Oh, you're retired. You're retired. I'm sure you were good when you were there, right? All right, the hats I wear. In no particular order, right? You kind of feel like you have to say that in no particular order. I am a, so this is going to get interesting. I am probably have way more room here than I have hats. So we'll have to kind of figure out how that goes. I know. How about this? Wife. Married to Nick for 29 plus years. So if Nancy was doing this list, she could say, a retired MRI tech for, X years. Wife, mom to Jack and Sam. I'm a cat mom, right? Cat mom to several cats over the years. Now Reggie. Although Sam calls me cat grandma, and I'm like, no, I'm not a cat grandma. I'm not a grandma yet. I'll be the cat mom. Linda May, collector of craft supplies. I love it. Jackie, gardener, landscaper. Karen, she became a great aunt for the second time. She's a geologist, a pattern digitizer for glass products. Oh, wow, that sounds fascinating, Karen. A mom, aunt, sister, survivor of the daily commute to work, property owner. See, look at, right? There's a lot of these. Cindy, a lister. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to figure out how to work that one in. I'm a daughter, right? I mean, there really doesn't need any explanation with that one. I'm a daughter. I have two parents. I mean, everyone has two parents. They may not be in your life. You may not know who one or both of your parents are, but you had two parents, right? At some point. Daughter, a caregiver. Yeah, a caregiver. And you know what? We're actually all caregivers when you think about it, because you could be a caregiver to your friend. I mean, caregiving could be that you answer the phone when they call and they need to chat, right? Caregiver, I'm an aunt. So I'm an aunt. I'm also like a step aunt. I don't know how you say that, an aunt. So I have an aunt to, oh my gosh, my back is starting to lower back. So I have Jocelyn, Seth, Jace, Lauren, and Nikki, 5. Really, I guess an aunt. Aunt to 5 nieces and nephews. What else do I have? I am a friend to lots of amazing people, right? Friend is a good hat. All these are good hats, but a friend is a good one. I would call myself, I gotta spell it though, an entrepreneur. I think that's how I spell it. An entrepreneur. If it's not, just it's okay. I am a small business owner, right? A small business owner. That makes me a boss, right? I'm a boss. I have, I could call myself a girl boss. A girl boss and a boss. And when I say a boss, I mean like, I have employees that work for me. I am creative Cindy, a seasoned traveler. I love that one. I am a seasoned traveler. I love to travel. I've traveled my entire life, even when I was a baby, because my dad was in the Navy. I am a seasoned traveler. Look at, I love this. I am a mentor. Now's where you get to toot your own horn, friends, if you're doing this list. All the things that you are. I'm a house cleaner, right? And it's not all glamorous, right? A house cleaner. You notice I did not put I am a cook or a chef. I am neither of those. I do not cook. I am a Jackie, a drinking buddy. I know sometimes I am a drinking buddy. Oh, you know what? A bank. I like it. I'm a bank sometimes, right? I'm a bank. I mean, sometimes I'm a bank to the children or adult children. Sometimes I'm a bank if I'm a boss, right? I am am I Linda May? I think I'm a giver. I would call myself a giver. I think I can say I'm a giver. I hope I'm a giver. I feel like I'm a giver. I am a lister. Yep, absolutely. A lister. Absolutely, I'm a lister. That's a big one. Because, right, I am a lister. I am, you know what else I can say? I think I can say I'm an artist. I'm a different kind of artist, but I think I'm an artist, right? We can say we're an artist. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher, instructor. I'm a teacher. Yeah, I'm a teacher. Because you're right, I am a teacher. Not in the traditional sense, but I'm a teacher. All right, now there's one more thing I know I need to do. Because to me, it looks like something is missing on this, missing here, right? Something's missing. And what do I say is needed? The answer. When it feels like something's missing, the answer is always a what? We gotta find it. Oh, God. The answer is always a word strip sticker. Yes, Creative Cindy. Yeah, Nancy, I need a date too, but yes, word strip sticker. So right here, I need just a little something to just tie it all together. So let's see if there's something fun in Small Talk Snarky. There just might be something fun here. I've got a good heart, but this mouth. I'd like to announce I have no idea what I'm doing. That would be really funny there. Now here's the deal. If I do that, this is way too wide. This is a funny one. I think I like this one. I'd like to announce I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm going to do this. It's too wide, so I can't use it. I mean, it would work. Let's talk about that for 1 second. It would work. But for me, it's too wide because all I've done is just like draw this down. It's the exact width of that. And I want something that just kind of tapers down. Doesn't mean I can't use this. What it does mean is I'm just gonna snip off those little edges. Then I can do this. I'd like to announce, and then I have no idea what I'm doing. And we're going to that's gonna make that really shadowed. Let me get that out of there. I'd like to announce. I have no idea what I'm doing. There we go. So do you see what a difference that made? See what a difference that made? That now just kind of pulled all that together, as opposed to not having it there at all. And then if we kept that as one whole piece, it just really wouldn't have helped at all because it just would have been spanning the exact same width. So I think what I will do, I'm just going to do this right here. I'm going to do 1024, just a little tiny date right in there. And, oh, I know, I was wondering about that. I don't need that. But I just did wonder, just one more thing. Let's just wonder one more thing. Somewhere in here are I had the little puffy stickers out. So let's look for that. And then if we can find those, I might add one little puffy. Oh, here we go. One little puffy. Let's see. We have pink and orange, so we could use, I don't think I'll use a heart because I already have those little hearts, but we could possibly do this. I don't know. It just doesn't really look like it's needed there. It just doesn't really look like it's needed there. What about there? Do we like it there? I like it there. All right, we're done. So I am going to put these into the Traveler's Notebook insert. We will, ooh, what was that? Oh, it's okay, just part of the top that didn't come off. Let me get that little sticker off. I don't want that to make some unnecessary, oh, my cuticles are so dry. I have not had anywhere near enough water today. I gotta take care of that, although it is kind of late. And so it's kind of, oh, that could be fun. A heart on the camera, Linda May. I like it. Let's try it. It is kind of late. You know what happens when you start to get old like me. You have to limit your liquid intake at night, or else you are up in the middle of the night many times, and I don't want to do that. All right, but I think that's a cute idea. We could probably put, yes, a little heart. Maybe one of these little hearts right over here. Yes. Okay, cute. Cute, cute, cute. There we go. We are done. So this is funny. Look at this. So here's my sketch. This is really funny. That's my sketch for about last month. So I had a big cluster and I was going to put a camera there. So my sketch. Here's my sketch for the second one. I knew I was going to do a postcard in the middle and then things I collect. The only sketch I had for this guy was you go girl and living my best life. Other than that, nothing. So it's always fun to me when I really have no idea what I'm going to do. Sometimes that goes really well. Like this one went well. It went very smoothly, right? There weren't really any, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Stop, start, stop, start. But sometimes if I don't have an idea what I'm doing, sometimes then it doesn't work so well, right? And then I start to get frustrated. And when that happens, I find the best thing to do is to just stop and walk away and finish it later, right? So if you have a plan and you put that plan into play and you follow your design or your sketch or whatever you're inspired from, maybe you're looking at one of the Listing with Lael idea books to be inspired or something like that, or maybe you have another project you've done in the past, or maybe you saw someone else's project and you think, oh, I love that. That was really fun. I want to kind of be inspired by that. Or sometimes you're just going, right? Sometimes you're just playing and sometimes it goes really smooth and everything works perfectly, right? Don't you love it when everything works perfectly and you're like, yes, I love it. And it just happens. And other times it doesn't happen. And everybody goes through that, the not happening, right? Everything goes through the not happening. So if that ever happens to you, just put it away. Put it away or walk away for a couple hours, a couple days and come back. And generally, when I do that, things just kind of fall into place. Sometimes you can't force it. And anyhow, I mean, not that we needed to force anything because that one worked out really well. Yeah, you can see that little guy is totally changing colors. All right, friends, so there we have it. We have 3 more lists done tonight. I love it. And you know what? I mean, not too bad. We're about 40 minutes. I mean, not over. We never have a time, but thank you guys for joining me tonight. If you were watching with me live, thank you for joining live. And if you're watching the replay, I'm just glad you were hanging out with us watching at any time. 2 giveaways tonight. You participate in the giveaways by leaving a comment on the video when it's over. So not here in the chat, comment on the video when it's over. The first giveaway is for that Tally Alpha stamp set. That is what I used there. That's a 6x8 stamp set. And the second prize is the clips die cuts and both of my 6x8 paper packs, the grid and the lined notebook paper. All right, friends. Karen, thank you for the reminder. Hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button before you go. That would be awesome. Everything that I have used in my list this evening, you will find on my website at laelbymail.com. If you click in the description box of the video, there is a link that says what I'm using, and that will take you to the page on the website of the things that I'm using tonight. So that will be replaced every time we list. So if you're watching this list, past October 12th, then it will reflect what I'm using on October 12th. Okay, friends, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I hope to see you again listing on Saturday, October the 12th. Take care. Bye-bye.